Hi everyone, my name is Chris Sui. Today would be episode 1 of a series that I'm going to title Chris Sui's Confessions. And I already recorded part 1, but unfortunately part 1 did not record. Last night I stayed up to 3 a.m. and I was recording, and it was a very painful experience because I actually had to remember, I had to think. Today, it's the morning, and I don't have much time. And so it might sound like inauthentic, but what I'm going to tell you is definitely a true confession. I'm going to try to say it as it happened. It's a very complex situation I found myself in. So, I am an INFJ. My name is Chris, right? And my girlfriend is named Yuki. She is an ESFP. 2 friends came to visit me from Tokyo. One is a ENTP and one is an ENFP. My ENTP friend's name is James and my ENFP friend is named Cindy. So they are in a relationship together. And my brother, my brother is an ESTP. And my sister-in-law is an ISFJ. I'm going to be talking about some conflicts and some of the problems. It's kind of complicated. It's revealing like the personal stuff about myself. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but I said in the previous recording that I'm recording these videos in the hopes that, I studied a bachelor's degree in history, and I'm hoping that I faithfully can record my experiences so I can remember in the future, but also I can share with my future descendants and with other people, and then hopefully they can turn into a learning experience, turn my pain into a learning experience. My father's an ISFP. Mom. So I think these are the critical personalities. Yeah. So, how do we want to start this? So, I was in Fujian, China, Quanzhou, China, with my girlfriend, ESFP. My friends came from Tokyo, and they were visiting Shanghai and the eastern coast of China. And they wanted, James and Cindy, they wanted to meet, ENTP and ENFP wanted to meet me. However, I was not feeling good because I had been fighting a lot with my girlfriend. However, ENTP friend of mine, who we were friends in the US, wanted me to meet his girlfriend for the first time. And so we decided to meet in Chaoshan, in Guangdong province. And we hanged out for 3 days. We talked nonstop for 3 days. And it was a very fun experience for all of us. They then told me, hey, we plan on getting married. Would you like to be the officiant? Would you like to be the MC? So they were asking me if I could marry my friend, the ENTP and the ENFP together. And that's a huge honor because that means they trust me, they consider me a good friend, and they really believe that I can do a good job on that. Who's going to choose someone who can't do a good job to officiate the wedding? Now, when I heard that offer to be the one who gets them married, 2 things immediately came into my mind. And I felt very unworthy and not fit for the role. And I wanted to at least disclose to them these 2 issues I had and give them full disclosure and give them the transparency to make the right decision for them, because I respect them as friends and I want their wedding to go smoothly. Man, I really wish I had the previous recording. The previous recording was full of so much emotion. I really wished AI could help me analyze it. It would have been amazing. There was so much to unpack there, seriously. Now, the first issue is that I actually officiated the wedding between my brother, the ESTP, and my sister-in-law, the ISFJ. At one time, I used to get along with my sister-in-law. But now we're kind of estranged. Our relationship has turned sour. So back when our relationship was good, they asked me to officiate the wedding on 2022, February 22nd. So that's 2022, the second month, 2, on the 22nd day. And I officiated their wedding. And I officiated their wedding telling them that, hey, I'm going to take this very seriously. I'm going to do research into marriage and weddings, and I will only be willing to officiate the wedding if you accept the fact that we can do counseling sessions together where I believe in order for a marriage to be successful, it's a good idea to have a third party who's neutral, who, if there are any issues that arise, they can talk to a trusted third party and confront those issues. And I was willing to be that person for my brother and my sister-in-law. And I thought that they would need such a person. And so I said, look, if I help you get married, then I'll also need to do this. And as a side, they would also need to take counseling classes with me as well. And they said yes. However, after they got married, they never sought me as a third party. They never took any counseling lessons. And I felt as the person who gets two people married, who says, will you kiss the bride? Will you marry? Will you love and to hold and to cherish? I thought that's a huge responsibility, that I need to take responsibility for the people I get married, the success of their marriage. Because I think a wedding is pointless if a marriage ends up in a failure. And I reflected that in my speech. I wrote a very good speech that reflected my beliefs. And in the future, we'll upload maybe the wedding speech as well. We got estranged. And I'm going to get on there's 2 reasons why I got estranged from the ISFJ. Okay, I'm being organized. One day, okay, the first issue, I don't remember which came first, but one issue has to do with calling me uncle, and one issue has to deal with my LinkedIn profile. So I am an entrepreneur. I started a business in 2017, April 23rd, and I wrote on my LinkedIn profile that I used to be a pornography addict, and I wanted to help people overcome pornography addiction. So in my life, I had 2 major addictions: video game addiction and pornography addiction. And I wasted many years of my life in these 2 addictions, and they caused me a lot of pain. So it became a value of mine that I wanted to make philanthropy and make a difference and help, especially young men, but women can also be in it as well, right? But help people overcome these 2 addictions that ruined a part of my life. I don't want it to ruin other people's lives. So I wanted to, in my LinkedIn profile, I showed that I have my main career, and then I have some philanthropic or some volunteer activities involving the pornography addiction and the video game addiction. And I think before I say what happens, let me try to sequence it because my time is short, so I'm struggling to remember. I'd say that so an example of my relationship between me and my brother and my sister-in-law is one day in the back of our backyard, I actually met the two of them, and we were talking, how are you? And I wanted to share what I learned about anatomy because I knew that they were going to get married and maybe have a baby, so I wanted to share something that might be useful. So my brother studied psychology and my sister-in-law studied neurobiology. I studied history in college, but ever since after college, I wanted to learn a lot and become a polymath. So I'm talking to the two of them and I'm saying, hey, let me share with you something I learned about anatomy. It's called Mrs. Includer. So Mrs. Includer is an acronym for remembering the 11 organ systems of the body. M, muscular system. R, respiratory system. S, skeletal or skeletal system. I, intergumentary system, the skin and the teeth. N, nervous system. C, circulatory system. L, lymphatic system. U, urinary system. D, digestive system. E, endocrine system. R, reproduction system. So 2 R's, respiratory system and reproduction system. So there's 11 organ systems in the body. And I shared this mnemonic with my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law. And what's so interesting, if we just look at it from the cognitive functions perspective, is the ISFJ actually values SI and TI, where SI has to do with memory and TI has to do with a logical system. So a logical system to remember is going to be something in ISFJ values. For me, I value NI. I value actually the purpose, a greater purpose, and I think my greater purpose is to help people. So you can see that I opened this YouTube channel trying to share knowledge. I was sharing this Mrs. Includer to share knowledge to a future mother, hoping that this would help her dealing with the medical professionals. So I had dealt with video game and pornography addiction, so I wanted to help other people get over that and I advertised that on my LinkedIn. I wanted to help my sister-in-law. Oh my God, this video is starting to sound like I just died and I have to explain myself to God and the devil, and I'm on trial. So it's pretty scary. It's really scary. Like last time I made the video, it was scary too. It's creepy, but it is what it is. You know, you're on trial. What are you going to do? Maybe this is the shadow work. So NI, I have purpose. TI, I like to build knowledge too. So when I told her this, she was like really amazed. Like, wow, Chris is so smart and so amazing. And my brother was like, who gives a shit about this? And he didn't actually care. Interesting enough, they have TI, but it didn't match anything in his lived experience. So I don't find ESTPs to be the most theoretical. And so SE and FE don't value Mrs. Includer as much as ISFJ and INFJ. And we're both FE second functions, so we like helping people. So the purpose of the knowledge is to help people. And why do I know Mrs. Includer and anatomy? Is because I have major health issues. And so I try to turn my pain into purpose. I try to help other people learn from my experiences. And that's exactly why I opened the YouTube channel. I'm trying to share, and I'm confessing this, is I'm trying to help other people. I hope when I'm dead, there's some kind of rollover effect that can help people. Now, a second element of this story, and I've never told anyone like this story before. It's been probably bothering me for many years. Is that, so she, on her wedding night, my sister-in-law toasted me and gave a speech about me talking about Mrs. Includer. So that tells you that she thought highly of me. And this whole episode is about how people think highly of me and later on they don't think highly of me. And so she thought highly of me. And then she goes on LinkedIn and she finds me talking about the ex-pornography addiction. And so she immediately tells my brother, that's really bad for our family. Like this, she starts worrying. ISFJs can get worried about the future. Any vulnerable means they're worried about the possibilities of the future. And she tells my EST brother. My EST brother tells me, yo, my sister-in-law actually saw your LinkedIn and told me to tell you to take it down. So he becomes the messenger boy. And I'm like, whoa. Why would I take down something that I put on purpose as part of my beliefs? So I couldn't understand. On my LinkedIn profile, I am trying to I'm trying to help people who are addicted to pornography. That's serious. And my sister-in-law can't see anything positive about it. She just says this. She's getting worried about it. So then my brother tells my mom. My sister-in-law tells my mom. My mom's an ISTJ. And ISTJs are kind of similar. ISTJs are kind of more similar to ISFJs than INFJs. So because they have the I and the S and the J. So they have 3 in common with the ISFJ, right? Oh God, this story. Telling this again. Told it yesterday, tell it today. So, being SI users, my mom looks up at my LinkedIn and then she's like, take it down. And I said, but it goes against my beliefs to take it down. It goes against my NI purposes to take it down because I actually believe in helping people who have pornography addiction. I studied history. I believe in recording my history and being honest and authentic. I want to write an autobiography. I don't want to hide anything from anybody. I want people to be able to learn from my experiences. And then my mom tells me, okay, well, we all told you that we think you should take it down, but I'm going to respect your decision as an adult. So my sister-in-law asks my mom, did you tell Chris to take it down? And my mom says, yes. And my sister-in-law says, why didn't you force him to take it down? And mom says, well, I have to respect you, and I have to respect my brother, my son. And she says, in this situation, I agree with you, but I also respect my son's decision to do what he wants. And this created a rift between my mom and my sister-in-law because my sister-in-law believed that this is coded word for saying, among 2 people, between me and the sister-in-law, she thought that she would side with her son because we're related by blood. So this created a thing, and also as ISFJs are kind of indirect and they take things kind of seriously. That I learned interpersonal things a bit seriously, just like INFJs because of the FE and the parent function. And she thinks she's doing this to do what's good for the family. So Effie is trying to be responsible, and she considers me as being irresponsible and causing conflict in the family. And this leads them to basically saying, we don't, like, sister-in-law tells my brother, and this is the funny thing about my brother, the ESTP. Sister-in-law tells my brother, I don't want Chris to see or talk or influence our kids. Doesn't want me to meet up the kids, her kids, when she has kids. And the reason is, in her mind, I was a pornography addict, and I overcame this. I want to help other people. She didn't see me as brave for coming out in the public and being vulnerable about my weaknesses. She didn't see me as a good person for trying to help other people who had went over the same thing. And she didn't see me as really, she didn't see me as someone who's strong. Because, like, first of all, you have to be brave to expose your vulnerabilities in public. Then you have to be strong to actually overcome video game addiction and pornography addiction. They all require immense willpower. They're not easy. In fact, to me, that's a huge thing I'm proud of. Like, to actually publicize I have had this addiction, I overcame it, and to actually overcome it, that signals that you are a person who has gone through adversity, and you're a person who's honest and trustworthy. And the third thing is, she didn't see that my desire to help other people, to share my experiences, to turn my pain into purpose, to turn my mess into a message. It's a very Christian kind of thinking. She didn't see that. And she's from a Buddhist family and I'm from a Christian family. So she instead sees pornography equals pedophilia equals dangerous for kids. And so she tells my brother she doesn't want me to see their kids. And this creates a rift makes me feel really uncomfortable because it was my ideal back in the States, in the US, in California, where we're from. It was in my brother and my idea that our family would become a strong family and have a lot of time together. But she created you can't be with our family. We don't want to be near you. And my brother basically is an S-type. He actually saw things. He actually agreed with. He kind of thought that his wife was going overboard, but he himself, and the thing is, ESTP is 4 letters different than INFJ. He himself has had conflicts with me for many, many things, and so he himself always thought that I was a problem, and this didn't help anything. So he actually just doesn't like me. Just even though I tried hard to make the relationship work, he just didn't like me. And this would actually make it very painful for me to stay in the US emotionally because I wanted to be close to my family, but someone in my family doesn't want me to see the family, and my own brother doesn't get along with me. And so this was also causing pain to my mom. So I thought, not only did I already have a business plan to go to China and leave California, this was also something that was bothering me. It was bothering my sister-in-law. It was bothering my brother. It was bothering my mom, and also my brother. I think being ST type, he just couldn't see how could he be so selfish. If you just take it down, then everyone will be happy. But you have to hold on to your NI purpose. You have to do this, and for what reason? And he couldn't see the reason like that. So he couldn't see the purpose of why would I want to help people get through pornography addiction. That's interesting because ISFJ has NI demon, and ESTP has NI in the vulnerable function, which basically means both of them don't actually they can't actually see, for whatever, the big vision. They can't see the big vision of, if I'm honest and authentic, it'll help me help other people. So they actually think it's really bad for the family brand. It's bad for you. It's going to negatively influence us. But I thought, in this world, I'm not a handsome guy. I'm not the smartest guy. I am not the most talented person. But actually being authentic and trying to help people, I'm pretty sure this is going to be good for my brand and our family brand. Like, being real and authentic with people is something that I crave for. And it's really interesting because ESTP, being the 4-letter flip, is much different. SE loop, I can tell you, is a lot about mianzi. Mianzi means having that social status, social mask, basically looking like you have everything in order, just looking good, and wearing a social mask that looks good. So it really cares about face. ESTP cares about face and being. Actually, ESTP doesn't care about being inauthentic. ESTP doesn't really care that much whether people know them or not. They just want to be liked. But INFJ actually wants to be known and wants to know about others and wants to be known, wants to be understood deeply, and wants to understand other people deeply. The second issue that came up between me and them was I would say it's a really dumb argument, but to them it was not a dumb argument, and these two things pretty much made us rift. And the second argument, and I believe it actually came first, is the title of uncle. So in Chinese culture, people call people shushu, ayi. Shushu is uncle and auntie. They call people uncles that If you've never met a person who's older than you before, you call them uncle. If you've never met a person before, you have to address people with an honorific. Uncle this, uncle that. So I was calling everyone Uncle Chris, Uncle that, Uncle John, Uncle this, Uncle that, Auntie this. I told my brother that I want his kids to call me Chris. First name, don't call me Uncle Chris. And the reason I don't want them to call me Uncle Chris is at least 3, I think. Reason number 1. I want there to be a friendship of equals between me and his kids. Because I saw many people in our life choose the wrong path. And a lot of people in the Asian community in America have many, many uncles. Uncle this, auntie this, uncle this, auntie that. And what happens is when you call people uncle, they start to perform a social role. They start to perform as an uncle. They start being an inauthentic version of themselves to perform a role. They give you red packets, they act perfect, and they don't really connect with you on a genuine level. And then you also start to act in a role that, oh, there's a social hierarchy. You're above me, I'm below you. You're supposed to act a certain way, I'm going to act a certain way. That's how it actually works in Asia as well. Social hierarchy and roles take precedence over in people's individuality. So what kind of happens is I wanted to have a real, genuine friendship with their kids. And I believe in order to have that, they have to see me as I'm same as them. I'm a flawed person. You could be a flawed person. So if they end up doing stupid stuff like doing drugs, or they have suicidal thoughts, or if they have weird things like they're starting to get sexually active, which are common things in the US, I would rather have my brother's kids actually feel like, hey, Chris, what do you think about this? What do you think about homosexuality? What do you think about this? Oh, I stole this from dad. I want them to have like a real honest communication style where I could be myself and they could be themselves. I don't have to act or perform a role and they don't have to perform a role. That's one. Second reason is I basically believe if I had kids or my brother had kids, I'd treat them kind of the same way. Is basically that I don't want my kids to associate age and authority and with anything to be respected. I basically feel like you don't, because a lot of people are abusers, especially in the Asian community. Like a lot of people are uncle this and auntie that, but they are crossing your boundaries. Like they'll be like, oh, I'm an uncle, so I can say, oh, you look fat, or I can ask you private, oh, where's your mom from, or oh, what do your parents do for work, or oh, how old are you? A lot of people are kind of seeking imbalanced relationships include information asymmetry. Like, oh, I'll ask how old are you, but I won't tell you how old am I because I'm older than you or I am younger than you. I want my kids to be confident. I want my kids to be very confident where they don't look at a 8-year-old person and an 18-year-old person and a 48-year-old person. I don't want them to do any deference. I don't want them to, in their heart, think, you're a 48-year-old person. You ate, in Chinese, they say, oh, you ate, in Chinese people like to say, I ate more salt than you. Meaning, I lived longer than you, so I know more shit than you do. So you should listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. Very, very, very common in Asian culture to give deference to authority and deference to age. I don't want my kids to be groveling to other people and treating people as, oh, this person is a PhD from Harvard, I should listen to everything they say. Or, oh, this person is 60 years old. Or, oh, this person is a CEO. I don't want my kids to have any deference. No deference. Because I believe that a lot, like, basically treat people on their merits. Treat people on what they can prove to you. Like, if a person is 60-year-old and they wear a suit and they have the fancy title, they're the chairman of Wanda Group. People of all kinds of roles abuse those positions of power to get a imbalanced relationship advantage on people. And they use that to basically further their agenda, to push their own agenda rather than help you. So I basically want my kids to be
as soon as they have consciousness, they're an adult. Like, I want my kids to think they are an adult as soon as you're a consciousness. You're responsible for your choices. I will support your choices in your future, but I do have a responsibility to guide my kids, but I don't want them to show any types of deference. Like, it's okay for them, because now when you're older, like I'm older right now, so I'm old enough that if I chose to show deference or chose to call someone uncle or auntie, I could do it consciously and choose it. I don't want it to be programmed into their brain when they're a little kid. Like, I want, like, you see how kids are so confident and they don't give, the kids can like run around in circles around the president of the country. They could actually like do funny things. It's because when they're not that conscious, they don't even know who's who, so they don't even know what the social hierarchy is. And actually that makes kids very, very powerful, because people think they're so cute. It's like, wow, we don't even, they don't show deference. So when kids start to show deference, they actually start to surrender their power. Because when they don't show deference, they can actually have more access, more confidence, more ability. And the first reason is I want to build a closer connection where they could be authentically connected with me and they can actually say things that they truly felt and they truly believed. And that way I could actually help my brother as an uncle. I thought I could help my brother's kids more if they didn't call me an uncle. And second of all, is I thought that if they don't show deference to me and they don't show deference to others, like teacher this or teacher that, yeah, some people won't like it that they're not a submissive little bitch, but if they're not a submissive little bitch, and it's harder for people to brainwash them and harder for people to take advantage of them using job titles, using uncle this and uncle that, then they would actually be in a good position in the year 2026. This is the time for the young to shine. Like, you don't need to be deferential, especially because there's so much information out there. If you start to put deference inside your heart, even subconsciously, you'll start to put yourself at a situation where you can be easily tricked, because you start to accept authority without double checking and without challenging authority. So you can see that I have a much more American point of view on this. I think that there should be a flattened social hierarchy between the uncle and the nephews, just like Uncle Benjen and Jon Snow. I think that there should actually be that deference should not be encouraged. I think it's like, why would the society is trying to socially program and brainwash us to be deferential and low confidence. Why would we want to continue that shit in our family? It's pretty funny is what I just said. I don't think would even make any sense to my brother. Then the third thing is a matter of respect. Basically, I and my brother agree on what respect is. I believe that in this situation, it is my wish that my nephew and my nieces do not call me Uncle Chris. I want them to call me Chris Hui, my first name. And to me, to show respect to me is you need to honor my wish. Now to my brother, he thinks that's disrespectful. My brother actually thinks that if his kids called me Chris Hui, it's disrespectful to me. And my brother actually wants to teach his kids respect by saying, you need to call Chris Uncle Chris. You need to call this person auntie this. So you can see there's a totally different way of looking at the word respect. I'm thinking, look, if I meet a Nigerian, if I'm going to respect a Nigerian, then I would need to care what he thinks. If I meet a woman and I want to respect her, I need to care what she thinks. I need to put her wishes above mine. In this situation, my wishes is not to be called Uncle Chris. So I'm saying, if you respect me and your kids respect me, I want them to respect me by respecting my wishes by calling me Chris, not Uncle Chris, for the reasons 1 and 2. But my brother thinks, how can you be such a bad person? If they start calling you Chris and they start calling other adults by their first name, it's not respectful and it's teaching them to be disrespectful. And I need to teach my kids respect from an early age. So actually my brother would argue and fight over this kind of stuff. He would actually, sounds really silly, but it is very serious. It says in the Chinese, it's the Sanguan worldview, value system and lifestyle is totally different. Where I have a vision, an NI vision of how I believe my value systems are. My brother actually basically supports a value system that he sees in operation. He affirms a value system he sees. I disaffirm the value systems I see, and I see the desire to build and invent a new value system that will be better than the previous value system. And my brother, being an SC type, he subconsciously probably thinks you're too much of a rebel, which is really funny because actually my brother's the rebel. Like, he's the one who's been rebellious his whole life. And the thing is, he saw me as unwilling to compromise on these two issues, as me being a very inflexible and very stubborn person. Whereas I viewed him as, to me, he seemed not intelligent enough to understand my position, and his ability to Huanwei Sikao, his ability to see things from my point of view, was not there. He didn't even try to convince me his position was right. He just basically said, you don't agree with me and you have this shitty opinion, then you're a bad person. So I would rather have my brother be like, oh, this is my opinion. Like, he should be like diplomatic. Oh, this is my opinion. What is your opinion? Oh, your opinion, my opinion have equal value because we are both human beings that are adults. It's interesting your opinion's different than mine. And it's interesting my opinion's different than yours. Can we dialogue? Can we have a dialectic? Can we discuss and see if we can convince or persuade or debate the other person? That's the training I received. My brother received totally different training. I don't know exactly how to put it in words, but these rifts caused my relationship between my brother and my sister-in-law to not be good. And I'm gonna stop the video and start part 2 because I'm afraid it won't record. So I'm gonna go in the next part of the problem between me and James and Cindy, the ENTP and the ENFP. So that is some background information. This is Confessions episode 1, part 2. Thank you, God, it recorded successfully. I really bummed out last time it did not record. So we're in a rush. So we shared the problem between me, my brother, my sister-in-law, about calling the kids, calling me uncle, and the LinkedIn profile talking about pornography addiction. So now we have two more strange stories to talk about. They're strange, but they're real, and I hope other people can maybe learn a thing or two, and maybe also share their own experiences. Yeah. Oh. I seek to be a very trustworthy person, but it can be challenging. Okay. So the context is my ENTP friend James and his fiance Sydney, an ENFP. They hang out with me in Chaoshan for 3 days. Sydney meets me the first time. They love talking to me, and they ask, "Can you be our MC and get us married?" And I don't feel good about it because of two things. One, I actually officiated the wedding between my brother and my sister-in-law, and it led to pain. And the second thing is the story we're going to say. So let's go here. Just clear this up. I am very proud of myself to learn about socionics so I could actually discuss my life using this tool and framework and using other psychological tools. I will be analyzing the relationship between my brother, the relationship between my mother, the relationship between my father, and the relationship between my grandparents. I think it's interesting, and I haven't typed my grandparents successfully, so I want to recall their memory and use this as a great opportunity to remember people and to remember things that happened in my life, because I'm living a pretty intense life, so I need to say the things that are happening as they're happening now. Otherwise, I'm just going to forget. So in this story, right?
I'm the INFJ. My girlfriend Yuki is the ESFP. So we're together. And the ENFP is dating the ENTP. They're about to get married, and they want me to help them get married. Now, I felt guilty about something that I needed to tell them that would make them have an opportunity to make a good decision whether I'm the right person, because I felt like I'm not the right person, and this is probably the biggest reason why. I met my girlfriend in like February, and 4 or 5 months, and we were attracted to each other. So we met on a language learning app called Tandem, and I was in Fuzhou and she was in Quanzhou, and then we were texting and we were calling, and we got along really, really well. We felt a powerful attraction. And when I was in a different city than her, she would say that her heart was beating so fast for me and she wanted to meet me. And so we ended up meeting in a city named Putian. So then Putian is a city that's between the two cities we're in. We met in the city we're in, and the first day we were with each other, we were basically together. We were unofficially together since the first day we were together. We didn't really call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. We didn't say anything, but we basically acted like boyfriend and girlfriend from the first day we met. And we were very happy with each other. And we traveled to many different cities, like 6 different cities after that. Man, I really need to record. So let me think if I could remember. We went to Putian, Zhangzhou, Longyan, Xiamen, Xianggang, and Shenzhen. We went to like 6 cities together. And when I went to the city of Longyan, I met a very attractive girl who is an ENTP. And we met as friends, because I wrote an advertisement on Little Red Note, Xiaohongshu, to basically, because when I go to different cities, I want to meet people who are locals. So I wrote an advertisement to meet locals. I talked about what I'm interested, what I like to talk about, and that I'd like to meet locals and become friends. And my girlfriend knew about this, so I actually wrote advertisements, and I met her. And I'm sure she wouldn't really care because she's not really using a real name anyway. But her name is Michelle. So I met Michelle in an online, I wrote an advertisement. She responded to an advertisement. The same day she responded to advertisement, the same day we met. And here's the thing is, I met her, the day she met me, she took me to a mountain temple. We visited a mountain temple in Longyan. And this can be a little complicated. My girlfriend is, Chinese has many different types, but she's actually what we call Minnan. Minnan means they come from Fujian province, a part of Fujian province. This ENTP, whose name is Michelle, she got Yuki, got Michelle. She's actually from Longyan, but she's actually Kejia Min Si hybrid. Whereas my mother's side is from Minnan, and my father's side is from Kejia. So we have a lot of connecting points. So my girlfriend and I are, they speak, my mom speaks the same dialect as my girlfriend. So they have the Minnan relationship. So we have shared ancestry on that side. Whereas the girl that I met, she has shared ancestry on the Kejia side. And I'm an N type, intuitive, and she's an intuitive type. So we're both drawn to very intuitive topics like religion. So she took me to a mountain temple, and we had great conversations. And she asked me, we were talking about religion, and she knew that I'm from a Christian background. She's from a more Buddhist background, although she wouldn't identify as Buddhist. But she asked me, what do you think about premarital sex? So we were talking about religion, and religion leads people to talk about Christianity. And Christianity, a lot of people's first question is, okay, you're a Christian, so what do you think about premarital sex? And this made our conversation talk about sex. And so I leave the city, and we're just friends texting. And so me and my girlfriend, we are still traveling. So together, and we go to a city called Xiamen. And then what happens is when I'm in Xiamen with my girlfriend, we start having fights. We had a honeymoon phase, but things were moving really fast in our relationship with me and Yuki. To a point, we have been living together since we met till now. We've been basically living together with occasional times where we're living in different cities. And when we were in Xiamen, the reason why we were fighting is related to our conversations were seriously lacking depth. And this has something to do with MBTI because my girlfriend thought she was an ENFP, and I had the hardest time finding out what MBTI she is. My girlfriend seriously thinks she's a 7W6 in Enneagram. She thinks that she really believes that she is an INTP. But I have a lot of INTPs, and we talk about INTP things, and that's not what my girlfriend talks about. So me and my girlfriend basically have the situation where when we first met, she was like, oh, wow, I have so many topics I want to talk to you about. Let's write a list of topics. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about this. She made me feel like we had a long list of topics that we could talk about forever. Those bottomless topics. She had me come to the conclusion that we were the right people for each other because we had so many topics to actually discuss. But that only lasted for like a very short period of time. Like I would say that only lasted for maybe like 2 weeks. It was only for like the first 2 weeks that we had like deep conversations. And after 2 weeks, it became a situation where I wanted to have deep conversations with her, and she just wanted to have sex. And the thing is, like, when we were eating together, I love to, like, let's eat and let's talk. Let's eat and let's talk. But the situation is, she was like, oh, when we're eating, let's not talk because it's going to ruin the eating experience. So that should have already been a clue that she was a sensor, not an intuitive. But I started having a weird relationship with my girlfriend where
I realized I needed deep conversations more than sex, and she actually craved sex but didn't really crave deep conversations. And she craved primarily, like, for example, when we went to travel to Hong Kong, I wanted to talk to her about. I wanted to talk to her about Hong Kong and like cultural differences, and she was more focused on eating noodles. She didn't really. She had a hard time. We had a very hard time connecting. In what we call in Chinese is 同频率, getting on the same frequency, or 共鸣, or basically vibrations were off. Like, I might want to talk about MBTI, and I learned so much about MBTI. In the beginning, she acted like, oh yeah, she's interested in MBTI, we could talk about it. But, for example, she, this week, like past the week, she told me that she hates MBTI and she'll never want to talk to me about it again. And the thing is, she basically said, yeah, we can talk about anything. You could talk to me anything in your mind. But whenever I talked to things about that were on my mind, she would not really care, not really pay attention, and get distracted. And we couldn't get into any depth. This is something that I was very much conflicted by, because both of us were attracted to each other. Both of us loved being with each other. But the conversation quality was abysmal between me and my girlfriend. And in some ways, it still kind of is abysmal. And that left me feeling kind of scared. Am I with the right person? Should I break up? What's going on? But there were other good things about in our relationship. Like, it had a good sex life. We had a good, she was helping me becoming a better version of myself. I was also helping her become a better version of herself. But it was missing that deep connection that I longed for. Because I longed to understand her and to be understood by her, but I never felt that she tried to deeply understand me. And I felt that she was not curious about my inner world. And I built a very elaborate inner world. Like, for example, you can see that I have this socionics table, and I have so many thoughts to share. My girlfriend's not even interested in any of it. Even though it's important to me, she's not interested in any of it. Which is one reason why I started a podcast, to get deep conversations, because I wasn't getting deep conversations with my girlfriend. And I also started doing these videos because I want to talk about MBTI, but my girlfriend rejects these conversations, which is probably good, actually, because if she was willing to talk to him about MBTI, I probably wouldn't make these videos, which means we wouldn't even have these recordings. So these recordings kind of exist because I feel unfulfilled talking to her. So I met that girl who's very attractive. And by saying very attractive, I always say very attractive, but I should be more descriptive. I should be more graphic, because if we're going to be graphic, I should just talk about it so people could actually explain. She's a very busty girl. And she's like slim and busty. And she has a cute face. So she's like young, slim, and busty. And she likes talking about a lot of topics that we have in common. That's why she was attracted to meet me in the first place. I didn't even know what she looked like when we met. So when we first met, she was interested to meet me. She saw what I looked like because I had a picture. But she liked my topics, and we met each other. And then we have that I was physically attracted to her, and she and I had the mental connection. And this is where we were keeping in contact, and we call this 暧昧对象. 暧昧对象 is like somebody that you're flirting with. It's like, it's very common in Chinese, and this is something that I think is kind of bad, but I'm just telling you what it really is. In China, a lot of people do something called 骑驴找马. It means to ride a donkey while looking for a horse. Basically, they'll be in a relationship with someone, but they're looking for a person who can replace that person. There's like
they have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and they're with that person for a period of time, and they're just waiting to see if they can find a better person and switch out their partner for another partner. So I have to admit that I was heavily tempted to do this because my first tries to actually fix the deep conversations with my girlfriend was there. They're really there. I really want to fix it because I really liked her. And she treats me so well. In many ways, she treated me really bad. We were complicated, me and Yuki. But the thing is, like for example, something great she did, she cooks amazing food for me. Now something bad she does is she'll tell me like, important decisions we'll discuss together. And I'll say, okay, she wants to get a cat. Let's discuss it together. She said, okay, we'll discuss it together. Instead of discussing, she just decided, I'm going to get a cat. She just got a cat. She didn't even ask for my permission. She's like, okay, we have a cat now. So like, she knew that I wouldn't want that because I felt, wait, where's the democracy? Where's the discussion? No democracy, no discussion. There's just a cat now. Our cat name's Man. So we were flirting, but we were also talking on the phone, right? Like texting. And I left the city that I met her, and I went to another city with my girlfriend, and we fought in that city, and then my girlfriend left to another city. And in that period of time where I was alone, the girl, the ENTP, she's actually very, very risque, and she's actually kind of very, very like naughty in the sense that she likes to attack people, like verbally attack. Like she'd say things like, you're Asian, your dick is small. So funny thing is, so she's Chinese from China, and I'm Chinese American. I'm from America. And she was basically saying, you're Chinese, your dick is small. And she would send me like pictures of her ex-boyfriend, who's also Chinese but from Hong Kong, and say like, look how big his dick is. I bet your dick is not as big as his. It's kind of taunting. So she was goading me. And this definitely hit an insecurity because we all know that people say that Chinese people's dicks are small. But actually, this thing is, I'm not tall. I'm 168 centimeters. But I don't feel that my penis is small. So it actually makes me mad when people say Chinese people's dicks are small, because I know that people are trying to attack me because I'm actually not the tallest person. So people assume if you're not that tall, then your dick is small. But for me, I felt my dick's fine. But I felt insecure, and when I say feel insecure, what I mean is SE is actually in the inferior vulnerable function for, maybe I should start using inferior, but in the vulnerable function, SE has things, I mean, the word sex has SE, right? So SE actually has something to do with like sexual performance and actual physical activities. So SE in the vulnerable function makes people insecure about their physical appearance, insecure about their sports performance, insecure about being a klutz, insecure about sex. Like we all know about premature ejaculation, right? So as a man, a Chinese American man, I am insecure about pre-ejaculation, and I'm insecure about small penises, kind of memes that are used to literally disparage my race and my gender. But I did a lot of things to address these concerns. So, for example, let's say sexual impotence. Basically, the fear for me, like a real fear I had, was since young, was the fear of being sexually impotent. Sexually impotent in this situation being not good at sex. And so not good at sex have like two main components. How big is your dick? And then what is the duration of that you're able to have sex? And of course there's more nuance, like your skills and your foreplay and all this kind of stuff. But let's just keep it simple, is that those two things,
Well, you can't really change your size that easily, but you can work on your duration. So I did do a lot of research in terms of the Kama Sutra and all kinds of edging techniques and how to overcome premature ejaculation, because that was a fear I had. So I did everything in my power that I could to train against that. And also, so this girl's texting me, your penis is small. And so I took that as a challenge. I took a picture of my penis. I sent her a dick pic. She saw the dick pic and she's like, oh, your penis is so small. Like, she's like making fun of, like, ho, 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 ho. And the truth is, my penis is actually smaller than her ex-boyfriend's penis. But I don't think my penis is small, so other people say your penis is small. Well, I think my penis is fine. And so I was confident enough to send a picture knowing that, oh, well, this is what it is. This is who I am. And so she is saying all this kind of stuff. Your penis is so small. And I'm saying my penis is so big. And kind of like that kind of banter. Dirty talk. But flirting. But also she's attacking me. And she's debating me. She's trying to tear me down. But I'm not letting her tear me down. Okay? And then, like, a few days later, like 2 days later, she's like, I want to have sex with you. And so she would say stuff like, I want to have sex with you. I don't want to have sex with you. Your penis is small. Oh, your penis is big. She was like changing her sentence every sentence. So the thing is, whatever she was saying, I was confident because I know my penis is not small. I know that my sexual duration is good because I worked on it. I trained on that thing to match this vulnerable function. That's why, yeah, the vulnerable function can make people very insecure, but insecurities can drive people to overcompensate and go crazy. And I'm definitely one of those people who kind of like try to overcompensate in terms of, like, for example, if I was on the wrestling team, if I was not good at wrestling or not good at the sport, I would like I'd do crazy stuff to try to like catch up or be better than the competition. And sex is the same way. So you want to be better than the competition. Other people are saying, oh, your penis is small. That means you're smaller than the competition. Oh, your duration's not good. Then, oh, they're trying to say devalue you and put them higher. And that's an attack on a person's like confidence. And I know this is really interesting because I think for women would actually understand it if people said you have like small tits or you have like a flat butt, or it's like when people attack you or you're fat, like they're attacking you for your size or your appearance. People also do that to guys, and they attack people, especially Asian guys, they attack their penis size. So this might sound very distasteful, but it wasn't me who started the low blows. It's other people who started low blows. So she's all like bantering, like, your dick is small. Oh, I want to have sex with you. Oh, I don't want to have sex with you. Oh, do you want to have sex with me? Oh, do you want to have sex? She's like saying all this crazy shit. And I'm just being confident. I'm just saying, oh, yeah, like, this is how big I am. I know how long I last in bed. And I know I'm good at this. And you'd be lucky if you could fuck me. Basically stuff like that. Because basically like, yeah, if I fucked you, you like it. So this kind of thing. So I don't know if I'm going to become like an Andrew Tate channel, but this is basically like, that's actually what I was saying. And so what happens is she says, where are you? I say, I'm in Xiamen. And she's like, I want to fuck you. And then I'm like, yeah, I think she's joking. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then the next day, she's like super serious about it. And she's like, where are you? She's like, I can't stop thinking about you. And then that day, she literally, after work, took a ticket, found me, and we both... What's really interesting is I booked a room in the hotel. She booked a room in the same hotel, but different room. So she booked 2 different rooms, and the idea is she wanted to come over because she was feeling crazy hormones to want to have sex, but she wanted to come over and we'll just hang out and just talk. And my idea is like, hey, if she comes over, we should just hang out and talk. If we don't have sex, we don't have sex. If we have sex, we have sex. And being honest is I was sexually attracted to her, so if we had sex, I'd be okay with it. And I knew it's cheating on my girlfriend, but I was also okay with not having sex because I actually valued the mental connection. Like, it sounds so cringe talking about like the sexual banter and stuff. It's actually worth psychologically diving in. I personally think kind of makes my channel not really safe for work kind of stuff, but I just want to be real. If anything, I want to just be real. Just look, I'm gonna die soon, so might as well be real about it. And then, and I'm not even trying to like justify. My voice is a little dead, as I said yesterday. Actually, the version of the story yesterday was much more emo because I was focused on it. So ashamed, but my so she ends up coming. We hang out. We go eat jiangmuya. We go eat duck, local specialty. We hang out. We talk. Oh, and I have to say, the first time we met, she actually, she took me to the mountain temple, and then later on she sent me to, treated me to a promo tea, and then she went back to work. So the first time she treated me so well, so I actually had a very good opinion of her. And so there was real consideration, is this girl, should I break up with my girlfriend and be with this girl? Because my girlfriend was fighting with me and they was not actually connecting in the conversation in the mental area. So this girl was connecting in the physical and in the mental at the time. And excuse me. So the girl basically takes me, we go eat food, and then we're walking downtown, and then she leans over and she's like, I really want you to fuck me. She actually like literally touches my, like, in public, like it's at nighttime, literally like touches me, and she's like trying to see how big it is. She literally says, I want to see how big it is. And then after doing, like, she literally did a size check. Like, she literally touched me in my private parts and actually, like, checked. Because she saw the picture before, so she wanted to see how does it feel like. And after she felt that, she's like, okay, when can we do it? So we end up having sex. She's actually quite satisfied with it. I did not even ejaculate. So we had sex at night, we slept, and then I had sex in the morning, and I did not ejaculate at all. And then she goes back to work. She had to go back to her city the next day. And then, I should say this, so she touched me and she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I want to see how big it is, blah, blah, blah. And then she actually says, you don't have a girlfriend, do you? She asked me that because apparently her ex-boyfriend was actually married and started dating her without telling her he has a wife. And I said, I lied to her and I said, no, I don't. And she then went further and then we had sex. So at the time I was dating Yuki, so I had a girlfriend who's still my girlfriend right now. And then she went back to her city, and then she's like, when are you coming back to my city? And she's also like, I thought about it, and I'd like to be in a relationship with you. So she was putting the offer on the table of like, when can we be official? So because we had sex, and then she thought I'm not dating anyone, and then she thought that we have the mental and physical connection. So I was satisfied with her physical body and appearance, right? I was attracted by that. She was satisfied with my sexual performance, which I didn't ejaculate, which basically means that, as I said, she physically touched me, so she knew the size. She saw the size, she touched the size, she had sex with me. She knew that, oh wow, even though I'm not as big as her ex-boyfriend, I could perform. And that is something that's so super cringe. This is the insecurities, but this is something that would make an INFJ like me proud, because the SE is the vulnerable function. So this is something that I was afraid of. So because you're afraid of the pre-ejaculation, afraid of being too small, these are things these are insecurities that to stand out and to try to perform as best as I can. Actually, looking at sex, I actually almost look at sex kind of as a job requirement. As when I'm dating, I need to have. It's my responsibility to give my partner as many orgasms to last as long as I can, give them the best sexual experience. That's basically FESE, because FE is I want to care about the opponent. I care more about my partner's sexual experience. I don't really care about my own sexual experience. And then SE is more about, I just want to perform. So I actually treat it as like a sport. Like, I'm actually here to compete with other people, and I have to do a good job of it. I need to compete with other people. I need to have a good sexual performance, and I need to. I want to be so good that my partner will be addicted to me, and this kind of makes them so they won't leave me and they won't want to cheat on me because of sexual impulses. So she goes back to her city, says, "Can we be together?" And then she also says, I told my best friend about us having sex, and she was so intrigued that she asked, can she watch us have, like, when we have sex, can she come and can she actually watch? And that's because she actually, with her ex-boyfriend, she had her ex-boyfriend had sex and her best friend had watched before. That's actually like a fetish her ex-boyfriend had. So her best friend was actually interested in doing that again. And I actually had this is the confession, a mix of feelings. For example, I was happy that I had sex with an attractive woman. That's true. I was proud that I sexually performed with an attractive woman, and I did not have premature ejaculation duration of time, and that I was big enough that I was 合格 means I was considered big enough, and so it's an affirmation that, oh, you're not the Asian Chinese small penis kind of guy. But then I had a lot of fear because I had misled her into thinking I was available for a long-term relationship. And I was also afraid now of how this kind of thing, I had done something bad. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I believe in an afterlife. I believe God sees me. I believe that I will be judged for what I do, and I pray that God would help me, because I've never thought that I'm not a sinner. I've always thought that I always knew I had dark desires. And I was very afraid and worried about my relationship with Yuki, because in that time, I was in a really weird position where I was fighting with Yuki, and also, like, my girlfriend had said some things, just like as example, because there are a lot of nuances that if you knew what was happening, it's hard to know what the headspace was. But my girlfriend has also said that, like, it's my girlfriend's goal to actually do a PhD program in Japan, and she's learning Japanese. And she actually made it pretty clear. Like, she actually made a joke, which I believe is not a joke. She said, when I go to Japan, I'm going to have sex with a lot of handsome guys there. So she said that to me before I cheated. So she said that as a joke, which made me feel like that my girlfriend would put her goals, like go to Japan, as far more important as me. And then when I go to Japan, basically the relationship would be broken because she would actually be attracted to people there. And even when we're in a relationship, she was already talking about basically going there and finding sexual fulfillment with people there. So she said a lot of things that made me very insecure about our relationship, which actually made me feel like I also need to find like a backup plan, because like it made me feel like I'm in a relationship with a girl I like, but she is expressing that yeah, she's happy in this relationship, but she could leave at any time, and she made it clear that she could threaten me like, oh yeah, I could break up with you anytime, and like this kind of stuff. And that made me scared. So because I was scared, it also made me want to find other options of if this relationship doesn't work out. It's like if the boat starts to sink, do I have a rowboat to save me to get out? Not a very nice way to think about things, but that's actually how I thought about things. And then on top of it, I really cared about my girlfriend, so there's so many complex thoughts and feelings. She actually had gotten fights with me, but she was showing serious bipolar tendencies. We saw a psychiatrist together. My girlfriend was basically going like, oh, my nose. My girlfriend is younger than me by 12 years, so 21 at the time. So she was going to graduate this year. She was going to graduate. So I had cheated on her, and I felt really bad about what I had done. But I'd also felt like I felt some insecurities where I felt relieved. Like that's just a straight, like knowing you can perform sexually well is the relief. Knowing that you can attract a beautiful woman is also a relief, because I felt threatened by my girlfriend. Oh, she can go to Japan and just change boyfriends. I also felt scared because both of us liked our relationship, but we both have problems. We were fighting and we couldn't get that deep communication. So I cared that I wanted to tell her that I cheated, but I didn't want to tell her before she graduated. And the girl was very happy with the girl I cheated with, the ENTP. She was happy with the possibility of our relationship, but I suddenly became, whoa, can we go back to being friends? Because I was actually like feeling guilt and feeling like I lied to my girlfriend, I cheated on her. I lied to this girl that I didn't have a partner, and now I have a partner, and now I have a God that's watching me, and now I'm going against my own values. Like I tried to help make the world a better place, and how am I making it a better place by doing this kind of stuff? And then I felt if I broke up with my girlfriend and left her for this girl, I would do serious emotional damage to my girlfriend at a time in her life where she was about to graduate. She started her own business and she was fighting with her business partners. She had a lot of stress from her family. I try to live by a code where when I date a girl, and I know it sounds so ridiculous because of the order you're hearing things, but up to this point, I lived by a code that I want the people who date with me before they meet me and after I want them to be, before they meet me,
and after they meet me, they just become a better person. They don't become a worse person. If I left my girlfriend at this time, it was like I would devastate a person and make an emotionally unstable person possibly go suicidal. At the same time, I felt I didn't know what to do with the ENTP because the attraction was there, but I felt wrong to pursue this relationship. So my immediate reaction is, can we become friends again? And say, well, they went too fast. Let's slow down. Now, the girl, she eventually found my girlfriend's social media, and she messaged my girlfriend that I cheated on her. And this was the day my girlfriend was setting up her graduation exhibit. And my girlfriend called me, or I called her. I think I called her. And then my girlfriend said, do you have something to tell me? I said, let's talk in person. And so I told her that, with all these things that were going on, stressful things going on, I had actually cheated on her, but I was waiting for after the graduation. And the thing is, what's really interesting is after I cheated on my girlfriend, I treated her very, very well. Like, she treated her super well. So we were super happy together after the cheating because I treated her really well and she was really happy to be treated well and we were getting along really well. And it was some of the happiest days of our lives. And so when she found out that I cheated on her, she was shocked because we were just having a happiest time of our life. And she loved me. And so at the time, I also told her what happened. She actually found it very easy to forgive for 3 reasons, I think. First of all, before we dated, I told her 6 things bad about myself before we started dating. And one of those things was I couldn't promise to be faithful. First of all, because I'm a guy, and in my experience, there are a lot of temptations for me, and especially in Asia. So, because when you're an Asian American in America, the truth, it's very honest truth. If you're an Asian American in America, you're basically treated as a second-class citizen. You're not as sexually desirable as your average white man in America. So when you're a second-class citizen, you don't feel attractive and you grow up with insecurities. But when you're like me, a Chinese American with I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick, but in China, they basically care about things like your economic situation. My economic situation is good. They care about things like your social graces. Well, my social graces are pretty good. And actually, they care more about education level than how smart you are. My education level is normal because I just did undergraduate. I didn't go to grad school. But my intelligence level is way higher than the normal. So it turns out like I have the winning combo, basically. So basically, being a Chinese American and being me in America, yes, in the dating market, I'm a second-class citizen. You can feel it. But when I'm in China, I am
if there was something above first class citizen, I'd be something above first class citizen. It's not like everyone treats you as above first class citizen. I'm saying the dating market. And it's not like, it doesn't really mean that, oh, everyone wants to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. No, this doesn't mean that. It just means that suddenly you go from a less attractive position to a more attractive position because people in China actually like dating people who look Chinese. So that's a thing. And I actually speak Chinese, right? So, like, for example, if you speak Chinese in America, that's not going to be that doesn't get you any points in the dating market. But if you speak Chinese in China, well, of course it's going to help in the dating market because most people don't speak English. So I told my girlfriend that I couldn't really promise to be faithful because I kind of knew that about the temptations would be there. And she had accepted that. That was one. Second of all is she knew that I was putting an effort to make the relationship better. We were having problems, but I was trying to help her career. I was trying to help her her school. I tried to help her in as many ways as possible to become a better version of herself. Because that's kind of what I think dating is supposed to be. I don't really think dating is trying to enjoy your life. I think it's trying to help the other person become a better version of themselves. And become a better version of yourself. And even love for me is about accepting the light and the dark sides, the good and the bad, the good desires and the bad desires. And so the girl that I cheated with, ENTP, basically tried to get my girlfriend to not like me by telling her how bad, like, your boyfriend cheated on you, blah, blah, blah. Actually what she was trying to do was, it's really weird, is her mindset was, if I can't have him, you can't have him either. So actually she wanted to be with me, but actually she realized, because I told her up front, I can't, let's just be friends. She realized that we weren't going to be together. So she acted like she cared about my girlfriend and said, I need to tell you what your boyfriend did. But if she really cared about my girlfriend, she wouldn't have done it on that day, because I specifically told her, because the girl told me she told me that she found out before she told my girlfriend. I begged her not to tell my girlfriend until after she graduates, which is like a few days later. And she specifically did not want to wait for the graduation. She specifically said, like, that's your problem. I need to kind of expose you. And my girlfriend can feel my love and my care and concern for her despite our problems. And so even though it's a complex mix of, and for me it's really, first of all, I think sex and love can be detached, especially for guys. But like for me, I did love Yuki, but I was afraid of loving my girlfriend. Like I was in love with her, but I was afraid of loving her because she was showing me so many signs, such as not being able to have deep talks, not wanting to talk about what I want to talk about, telling me she wants to sleep with guys in Japan. These kind of things made me kind of really afraid of the relationship. In a weird situation, not knowing what to do. So we will go on to part 3. This confession sounds much worse than yesterday's, I can tell you. But yesterday's version and today's version are both true. The level of detail is a bit different. Okay, so this is episode 3, or part 3 of Confessions number 1. The most creative story I've shared ever. So, to recap, ENTP and ENFP friends, they come from Japan. They visit me in Chaoshan. In Chaoshan,
in Chaoshan, they asked me if I can be the person who marries them, who's basically becomes their wedding officiant. I have two things that happened in my past. The fact that I married my brother and my sister-in-law, that did not go the way I wanted to. That was one problem. And the second problem was I had cheated on my girlfriend. So my girlfriend Yuki is an ESFP, and she's from Minnan heritage. And the girl I cheated with is of Kejia heritage and Minxi heritage. So you can understand that basically the ENTP I cheated with, she found my girlfriend's social media. She told my girlfriend that I cheated on her. She tried to cause me and my girlfriend to fight and break up, but my girlfriend and I, a very complex situation. First of all, after I cheated on my girlfriend, I felt guilty, and I treated my girlfriend very well, and we had a very, actually very loving and very happy relationship for about a month. And I was so guilty. I wanted to tell her what happened, but I was afraid that because she was going through a lot in her life, especially her graduation, I wanted to wait for her graduation to be done. But the ENTP claimed that she was telling my girlfriend about the cheating, claimed that she did it because she cared about my girlfriend, but I told the girl to wait after the graduation, but the girl did not wait. She immediately told my girlfriend and hoped that a conflict would ensue. My girlfriend found it within herself to hear me out, and actually she forgave me and wanted to, well, it's kind of weird. It's like someone cheated on you and then you have a happy relationship for 30 days and you find out they cheated on you 30 days ago, and then you're like, wait, what? Confused, because she was attached and she liked the relationship. But deep down, our relationship had some problems. Like, we were both not having good conversations at a deep, like our resonance at a deep topic level is not there. And I would say both sides were not satisfied by a couple things. Like, my girlfriend had said things like, oh, when I go to Japan, I will sleep with a lot of guys, or I will find handsome guys in Japan to sleep with. So they create a weird situation, where we both did things that are not right. And so we just decided to focus on the present and the future and both work on the relationship. Now, I told this cheating story to my friends who just asked me to, the ENFP and ENTP friends asked me if I could marry them. And, well, my ENTP friend was very, very disappointed, to say the least. ENFP and the ENTP friends, they were both shocked. And my ENTP friend had known me for a few years. We grew up together. We're both Chinese Americans. And he knows I'm a Christian. And even though he chose not to follow Christianity, he still has some expectations of how Christians should behave. And even though they were very disappointed in me, we discussed about, I was always honest to my policy was, one, being friends with the ENTP. I never did anything to try to gain any. I never tried to have a relationship where I'm your friend to gain some kind of advantage. Two, I always was willing to be honest. And I wanted him to know the real me, and I was never wearing a mask in front of him. And even here, I was the one who told him proactively that I had cheated on my girlfriend, rather than him have to find out. I had actually told him. And one of the main reasons I also told my friend James about the cheating is my girlfriend. I had talked to both the ENFP and ENTP about some of the bad things my girlfriend did to me. And my girlfriend said, "Hey, that's not fair. You cheated on me." So she's like, you did, yeah, sure. My girlfriend was like, "Yeah, I did bad things. I'm not good in this area and that area, but you also did some bad things. Are you brave enough to tell James the full truth? You told him the bad things I did. Did you tell him the bad things you did?" And so, even though I did a low integrity thing by cheating on my girlfriend, I do value integrity. So I thought it was fair to my girlfriend, the ESFP, to actually, I told the ENFP and ENTP bad things about my girlfriend, so I should tell them the bad things about myself. And so the ENTP basically, it was kind of devastating to see. It's like, you could tell that his opinion of me was so high, having so much fun talking to me, and then I confess that I cheated on my girlfriend. I mean, it went from, "Can you marry us off?" to, "Oh my gosh, I don't really know if we can still be friends," kind of thing. And at that point, he basically chose to. It was hard. My confession caused him actual physical pain, which also shocked me. But the thing is, because he had such high expectations of me. So the thing is, even though I didn't change, the person in front of him was the same. What changed was his perception of me. His perception of me was very high, but I told him of a confession, and his perception of me dropped. And then, but he still, I mean, we both use TI a lot, so I use TI and FE. We do have FE and TI, so we do connect with our second and third functions. I was putting a convincing case, which was true, that A, I never tried to get anything from him. B, I never tried to pretend someone I'm not. And now I'm even willing to tell him the bad things about me. And then C, I've always talked to him with the desire of trying to help him become the best version of himself. So I'm willing to share my vulnerabilities and my failures, not because I want to be made fun of. It's not because I'm proud of what I did. I'm hoping that what I did can actually be leveraged by him and use that as a case study, as an example to consider. And also a fourth point is my girlfriend, who's still with me. She chose to forgive me and chose to still be with me. It indicates to James that, okay, that means at least you are treating your girlfriend pretty well. And so after that day, they went on back to Japan. I went back to Fujian, where my girlfriend and I live. And then in our calls, they decided they still want me to do the wedding forward. And I wrote some speeches, and I did some calls and practices with them, or some kind of previewing, discussing the wedding planning and getting involved. But later on, I decided I don't want to do the officiant for a couple of reasons. One, I would have to give the wedding in English and Chinese. And two, Actually, what they wanted was they actually wanted a wedding that was more like, it's more like they wanted a wedding company to write a speech and they wanted me to give the speech. They wanted everything to be exactly positive and planned out. And I was worried about three things. One, I'm kind of alternative as a person. So I'm very like in China, I'm like kind of controversial kind of a person. I'm kind of controversial because I don't care to follow the societal norms. First of all, I'm not even from China, so I don't even, when I first came here, I didn't even know what the societal norms are, and actually now I know what many of the societal norms are. Their values don't match up with mine, and so I might have in mind a more kind of Christian wedding, where a Christian wedding is like there's a sermon and a speech, a long speech, and I wrote a speech, and I can read that in the future so that people can have an idea on some of the speeches I did. But basically, I thought that I would do a wedding similar to the one I gave my brother and sister, but they wanted me to do one that's more Chinese, that's more about and doing basically what they wanted and what I wanted weren't the same. And at the same time, it's their wedding, of course, so they have preference, but also I was going through a lot of issues, going through a lot of pressure, especially work pressure. So going through a lot of work pressure, it's like basically my plate is kind of full of things. And by doing the wedding, not only do I put myself under pressure, more pressure, but if I don't do a good job, it will hurt our relationship and embarrass them. If I do a good job, it wouldn't really even help our relation that much because our relationship was really good. So my cost benefit analysis is if I do this well, it could be great. But if I do it badly, the downside was much higher than the upside. And I was worried because things like the wedding speech, and there were differences in how the speech was supposed to be written. So overall, I want them to have the most successful wedding that they can have, and I wanted to be a participant, but I thought, going as a guest would probably be the lowest risk option for me and for them. But I was completely honored to be chosen, but I was very worried about letting down my friends. And so, no problem. So we still called a lot because we're friends. But then what kind of happened after that is me and my girlfriend started doing a lot of calls with them, like we two and the M2 doing phone calls. And so we had phone calls, and basically, when Yuki and I got into some fights, my girlfriend and I got into some fights, she would look for my friend's girlfriend to try to get involved and help. This happened a few times. And Sydney was happy to help, the ENFP was happy to help, but she was also getting a little frustrated because we were giving them too much negative energy. Because me and basically the dynamic when I was talking to the ENFP and ENTP friends, we would talk about lots of interesting intuitive topics. But when my girlfriend entered the picture, she wasn't talking about intuitive topics. She was we were constantly talking about how our relationship's not going well. And basically it's kind of like a boring but more and more realistic and more not fun topic, and then it kind of sounds like someone needs to play the counselor, and not everyone wants to play the counselor. Especially my ENTP friend does not like playing the counselor. He wants to just talk about more interesting economics, philosophy, psychology, religion. Doesn't want to talk about couples fighting each other. So that's the context. Now, in this backdrop, this is the last confession in this element. I'm a bit tired because I did a recording yesterday for 3 hours and it failed. And now I'm going to try to finish it off strong. Whew. So, this involves another girl named Yana. And Yana is an ISFP. We did a podcast together. So, what color would be nice here? Oh, this would be yellow. So basically, this is what has happened. Yana is a Kejia Hakka person from Shantou. And when I was on the train, I don't remember which train, but I was on a train ride. I had met her. And we got along well, we talked well, and she was in the Chinese medicine industry, and she was involved in a sales role to sell products like massage oil and some creams and some medical devices. And so she actually, in the train, she actually let me try, because there was barely anyone in the train ride, and she actually gave me a massage. And so we actually, called Tuina, it's a Chinese massage style. You massage put the oil on your shoulder and then massage it. So we got along pretty well. We became friends, and we came in contact. So fast forward, a month later, she ends up in the same city as me and my girlfriend, and she asks, "Hey, do you have time to hang out?" And I say, "Okay." And then I basically asked my girlfriend, I said, "Hey, I started my podcast. I said, can my friend come to our house and we do a podcast?" So 3 things. She'll come to the podcast, to our house. 2, she'll do a podcast. 3, she'll promote her medical products and use them on us. And 4, can she give me a massage and actually film it? It's actually filmed. So I didn't realize how hard it is to talk about this stuff. So my girlfriend said, yes, she can come to our house. Yes, she can do the podcast. Yes, she can promote her products. But she said, according to her version, she said she heard the question, can I get the massage? But she didn't answer yes or no. But in my version, she answered yes. So and this is I don't want to make things too confusing. So what actually ends up happening is she comes to our house, we do the podcast, we test out her medical sales things, and my girlfriend and I agree she did a good job on the sales. And she dressed really, really well in the Chinese cheap house. She just really, really well. I dressed badly compared to her. And the 4th is she first gave my girlfriend a massage. She asked my girlfriend, where does it hurt? And my girlfriend said her neck, and she massaged my girlfriend. When my girlfriend was getting massaged, I said, oh, I want to get massaged next. Then later, my girlfriend actually went to her room to just rest. And then when she's resting, Yana gave me this massage on my lower back because my left kidney has been hurting from mercury poisoning. My girlfriend comes out, sees her massaging my back, which means my shirt is somewhat lifted, and my pants is a little bit lowered. And she gets very angry. And instead of interrupting, she basically starts messaging our ENFP friend, Sydney, and says, Chris has brought a stranger girl to our house, and she's massaging him, and she was very distressed. And my ENFP friend was texting me. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" So I didn't know what my girlfriend texted to the ENFP, but I basically laid out two things that occurred. And they could be a bit shocking, but first I said that my girlfriend agreed to her coming. My girlfriend agreed to the podcast. My girlfriend agreed to the medical devices being promoted. And number 4, she agreed to the massage. But my girlfriend thinks she didn't agree to the massage. However, there's one more. The second thing that this is kind of bad, and I should confront this by saying, I'm not saying what I'm about to say is good, but this is just what happened, is I believe in order for there to be true love, both the male and the female need to love the light side and the dark side. And the part of the dark side is every person has hidden dark desires. Like the 7 deadly sins: lust, greed, envy, wrath, sloth, pride, gluttony. So my evil desires tend to be lust. And my desire with my girlfriend was, I want to be 100% honest and authentic with my girlfriend, so that I want her to be able to know. I want to be able to talk about my desires with her freely, including my dark desires, including the not so good desires. So for example, the way I look at it is, I want my girlfriend to know, like, hey, girlfriend, I want to be on a diet and lose weight. But when I see cake, I want to say, baby, I want the cake. I'm okay with her saying no, because I want to get on the diet and lose weight. So it's like the desires could be against what our own goals are. Sometimes what we want and what we really want, like what goal we want in the long term and the desires we have in the short term, sometimes they don't match up. And that's like where the discipline comes into play. So I expressed to my girlfriend the desire for a Sanpi, 3P, which means threesome. And I discussed this before. And actually my girlfriend's answers have been no, maybe, yes. Yes, no, maybe. Maybe, yes, no. She basically, if I asked her, she would say yes one day, or she'd say no one day. She'd say maybe one day. So on the day before Yana came to our apartment, I had asked her, is a threesome okay? And she said, the day before she said yes. Then I asked her on the day of, and then she said no. And my mindset is, if she says no, it's a no, because you need consent from your partner. And so I basically, the reason I asked her multiple times is because I knew that her mind is prone to change, and I don't want her to don't want to do something unless it's something that has a very sure yes. So when she says yes, no, yes, then it basically means no. So my mindset is, everyone has their dark desires. I'm willing to tell my partner my dark desires, and I'm willing to hear her opinion on my dark desires, and I'm not forcing her to say yes or no. I want her to actually have a voice and to actually help me make better decisions, because dark desires are called dark desires because they can lead you in the dark path. So the day before Yana came, I asked. The day before I asked, and she said yes. The day of I asked, she said no. So when she said no, I said, okay, then everything that happens today, I need to focus on doing the podcast well. I need to focus on doing everything well. I'm going to stick with the plan, the podcast, the promoting the products, and the massage. But when my girlfriend said okay to this, actually, it's like when my girlfriend actually said yes to the massage, she said yes to the massage is different than when she actually saw the massage. She felt very uncomfortable and very unhappy, and so she expressed that unhappiness to a trusted friend. And wow, I told this to the ENFP friend, and what's funny is my girlfriend did not bring up the threesome because she thought that's too much to tell. But I was the one who brought it up because I thought my girlfriend brought it up. And so I brought up the threesome, and I also brought up the massage situation. And basically, my ENFP friend was very upset. And because my ENFP friend was very upset, her boyfriend, the ENTP, was very upset that I made her girlfriend upset. And whoa, we had exchanged extremely long texts on this topic, but basically, the podcast with the ISFP went very well, so there was no problems with her. We didn't do anything bad or inappropriate. The ESFP, my girlfriend, she was angry at the time, but then she basically, our relationship became back in a good state really quickly. She said, I don't know if my ESFP girlfriend probably still, so she, like, my girlfriend actually hates the ISFP because the ISFP didn't do anything extremely bad, but my girlfriend hates her because that girl started calling my sister, my girlfriend, Tia Tia. So they're actually the same age, but the girl was a really good salesperson, and my girlfriend felt that she was too salesy. Okay. That's what it is. So my girlfriend is saying didn't want, also the touching and the sales thing, she just didn't like it, okay? But my problem with my girlfriend was resolved because she expressed her being really angry, and I talked out what happened, and she ended up kind of being convinced that, oh, okay, fine. Let's just not do that again. So my girlfriend said, yeah, sure, you can invite more people to podcasts, but we need to have more clear expectations of what's going to happen. What's interesting is about ENFP friend and ENTP friend's relationship was far more devastated. So what's interesting is the people involved were not devastated. It's the people who were not involved got devastated because, one, my ENFP friend thought that I was harming my girlfriend. First with the massage, and second with the threesome idea. She thought that it was like I'm attacking her. Second of all, she thought that I'm a hypocrite because I'm a Christian, yet I have vocalized dark desires. And then what's interesting is my ENFP friend, she has gay friends who are in open relationships, who have a more open lifestyle. And in her mind, basically, if someone is if two people are in a relationship and they both consent and they have an open lifestyle, it's fine. But if they are a Christian, it's not fine. So interesting enough, she is not a Christian, but instead of holding a person to her values, she holds them to her perception of their values. So like, for example, I have my own interpretation of Christian. So my ENFP friend barely understands Christianity, and I have a very deeper understanding of Christianity. So I know my belief has been heavily influenced by people in China. Like, people in China are like this. They're communist, Buddhist, Taoist, whatever they are. They don't actually believe or practice anything completely purely. Like, they basically treat it like this. Buddhism is one store, like Nike and Reebok. Their idea is like, Buddhism's one store, communism's another store, materialism's another store. Oh, I'll go to communism and I'll buy a hat here, and I'll go to Buddhism and I'll buy a socks here, and then I'll go to Christianity and I'll buy gloves here. So orthodoxy is kind of like, choose one store and buy your socks, your hats, and your gloves, everything from that one store. But the syncretism is when you take parts of different beliefs and you just create your own belief system. My friend, the ENFP, she is syncretic. She herself takes beliefs from different belief systems, a little bit of superstition here, a little bit of religion over here, a little bit of self-thought here. She takes beliefs from different parts, and then she makes her own thing. I do the exact same thing. I am also syncretic. I take some Christianity, I take some Taoism, I take some Buddhism, but I still call myself a Christian, but I'm syncretic. The thing is, I'm a syncretic Christian. And part of that is, the ENFP asked me, what did your Jesus tell you? Like, she got so angry because she's like, what did your Jesus tell you? And she said this to get me angry. And the thing is, okay, I'm just going to do this analysis. Is when I was in the 4th grade, I started using pornography. From the 4th grade onwards, I became a Christian in like 2017. But you can understand, I had dark desires. Let's say I had 100 dark desires. It's true, I had 100 dark desires since young. And when I became a Christian, I still had dark desires. But the dark desires went from 100 to 90 to 60 to 20. So the number of my dark desires went down. And the way I started practicing Christianity is not by, I'm going to practice the whole thing. I started by, this part makes sense, I'm going to practice it. So being thankful makes sense, I'm going to practice that. Honoring my parents, that makes sense, I'm going to practice that. Treating people with love, I'm going to practice that. All people are descendants from one common human ancestor, so we're all family members. I'm going to practice that. So I was always very clear which parts of the Bible or Christianity I was practicing. And I never, ever viewed practicing Christianity as this is an obligation, I have to do this. I viewed it as kind of like going to the gym. I kind of viewed it as, forgiving people, giving thanks. These are spiritual exercises that I don't consider I believe in forgiveness, so I always forgive people. It's like, no, I know how to do a squat. I learned how to do a squat, so sometimes I do a squat, sometimes I don't. When I do squats, I become stronger. My life becomes better. When I practice Thanksgiving and practice forgiveness, my life becomes better. And so I actually believe in Jesus and Christianity enough to practice spiritual exercises, but enough to know that, I'm a sinner, I'm not perfect, and instead of requiring myself to be perfect right off the gate, I am actually accepting this is who I am, and I have so many problems. I want to work on them. I want to be serious about working on those problems. And my dark desires were always there. And I believe that for God to love me or for my wife to love me, she needs to kind of know about the true person. How much you can love a person also comes from how much you understand a person. I want to be fully understood by God and fully understood by my partner and fully understood by myself. And I want to understand myself, love myself, and understand my partner and love my partner. And that's also what I want my partner to do to me. I want my partner to understand themselves and understand me, to love myself and to love themselves. And it includes the dark desires. So I personally told the ENFP that, yes, I'm syncretic. She thinks, if gay people who are not Christians, they have threesomes or open lifestyle, that's okay because they're aligned with their beliefs as long as they don't hurt anybody. This is kind of FI parent and FE critic. As long as they don't hurt anybody and they have consent, that's fine. But you are hurting your girlfriend, so that's FE critic, and you're not being morally consistent. That's FI parent. You're not being morally aligned. You call yourself a Christian, but you're practicing anti-Christian thoughts and beliefs. So it's kind of funny because my ENFP start to become kind of thought police or moral police on me, using Christianity to morally police me when she's not a Christian and I'm the Christian. And she doesn't know about Christianity, but she's using Christianity to morally police me. Excuse me. And so I talked to her a lot, trying to explain to her that I have a dark side. I want to have my ENFP friend is also very upset because she felt, you guys kept calling us and asking for relationship advice, but here you guys are wasting all my effort because you guys are just fucking around trying to have like threesomes and stuff. But I got emotionally invested, so I feel like I'm emotionally invested. I feel betrayed. So the thing is, and that's also where my ENTP friend had two double problems. So for my ENTP friends, actually, this is very funny. It's because my ENTP friend's actually anti-Christian. My ENFP friend is not a Christian, but she's not anti-Christian. My ENTP friend is anti-Christian because he used to be a Christian, but he felt that Christianity betrayed him and manipulated him and took a toll on his life, made his quality of life worse. Put it that way. Which is funny because I felt, my experience is Christianity made my quality of life actually become better. But I'm syncretic and I have some dark desires and some immoral behaviors. For example, cheated on my girlfriend, or I desire threesome. So cheated on my girlfriend. This is another thing that ENFP wanted to do. There's one. One thing is, they think thinking about it and talking about it is fine, but actually doing it's wrong. But they kind of got it confused because I actually cheated on my girlfriend. That was an action. The actual threesome has never actually happened. It's never happened. In fact, threesomes in like Asia is like $100 US. Could buy it. So it's not like I didn't have opportunity. So like I have plenty of opportunity, but actually even though I have that dark desire, I also have desire for good things. Like I also desire to be a person who makes a difference in the world. So for example, even though I have the dark desire to have a threesome, how come I've never had it? I have more than $100. I've never paid for it. I don't feel the desire. I don't want to do that. So there's a kind of, I think for me, like understanding myself from inside out is there are desires to have, like there are dark desires, but just because dark desires exist does not mean they're not conflicted desires. A conflicted desire is you desire something. It's like, I want to eat the cake, but I also desire a six pack. And just because you desire a six pack doesn't mean, and the cake doesn't mean you'll actually eat the cake. So you might actually take actions to not eat the cake. You might actually stay away from it, right? And actually me asking my girlfriend, hey, can we do it, also gives her a chance to stop me. But also, if I just wanted to go do it right off the bat, then there's no need to actually ask. You could just straight up go buy that experience. And in what so shocked me is my ENT and ENFP friends, when they talk, they're able to talk in theoretical terms. It becomes very, very much open-minded, talk about many different perspectives. But what's really crazy is this taught me an experience is no matter how open-minded your friends are, when you actually take a real action like cheating on someone, or you talk about like having a kind of morally questionable thing like a threesome, actually it can completely shatter people's opinion of you. And I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong, I'm just saying that's my experience. And my ENFP friend was, also my ENTP friend is anti-Christian. So he's actually anti-Christian, but he gets really pissed off, and he told me this before, he gets really pissed off when anyone who calls himself a Christian does anything that's against like the Christian code. Because for a long period of time, he was a Christian, and he was trying to follow that code. So whenever someone calls himself a Christian, but they dabble in sort of immoral fun, so they do think they get the benefits of being a Christian, and they get the benefits of they do things that are, they have fun doing things that Christians aren't supposed to do. He gets pissed because he feels like everyone's in on the joke, but he's not. So it feels like when he was a Christian, he restricted himself and he had to play by the rules. So when he sees Christians not play by the rules, it makes him get PTSD from his trauma times. So his thought was, so he asked me questions like, are you a Christian who doesn't believe that, are you a Christian that believes that no matter how much you sin, you'll go to heaven? That's the thing. He also asked me a question like, because I saw actually a desire in the ENTP and the ENFP that was quite different, is the ENTP friend saw what I did as hypocrisy. They both saw it as hypocrisy, but in a different angle. They kind of saw it as, so you're a Christian, but you have non-Christian desires. That means you are a hypocrite. Like, you're a Christian, but you're asking your girlfriend for a threesome, and that's one strike. You're a hypocrite on your religion. 2 is that you made my girlfriend angry, so that makes me angry because now I'm upset. And 3 is that if you try to remember the third point. And the third thing is he got really angry that he's like, how could you give me? Because we talked about we had many calls about like marriage and how to have a good marriage, right? He's like, how the hell? These two things. First of all, how can you? It's so cringe that you would give me good advice, marriage advice, and how to have a good marriage advice according to Christianity, but you yourself are practicing this kind of stuff. And second of all is your we helped you about your relationship because we took your relationship seriously because we wanted to help you. But you guys are not even serious about your relationship. You guys are just fucking around. So you're just completely wasting our time, and it feels so like totally disrespected. So I think this is something about T.I. just being clarity seeking, is like he's confused about what is going on in my head and what I'm doing, and he feels like how you're presenting yourself and how you really are there's like too big of a gap. And we liked how you presented yourself, but now we know how you are. We don't like this. Make me feel so nasty. And the ENFP is more concerned about, are you hurting your girlfriend? You're hurting your girlfriend. Oh, now because it's interesting because I'm actually better friends with Sydney than my girlfriend is, but because Sydney is actually a girl, and because Sydney is actually Chinese, and my girlfriend is a girl and is Chinese, actually FI means, and I can see it very obvious, my girlfriend can sympathize way better, not with her friend, but with the person who's more similar to her. So in this situation, she was even before, credits to her, she was willing to hear both sides of the story, but I'm just saying that basically she kind of entered this weird situation with a position, because when she heard about what happened, she immediately took the position of my girlfriend, and that's because they're more similar. The similarity is more similar, and so she could see herself in her girlfriend, my girlfriend, and she couldn't see herself in me anymore. And two more things is, whereas my ENTP friend is more focused on theology, he was trying to figure out what kind of theology are you following. And I had to explain what kind of theology am I following, because he didn't understand how are you able. And I think this is the thing is, an ENTP might make the mistake of thinking other people are also thinking like ENTPs. As a TI parent function, he wants to see TI used responsibly. And he sees me not using TI responsibly, so he's going to criticize me. And he's thinking, what theology are you following? And he's basically saying, look, either admit you're a hypocrite who's giving good advice, but you don't follow it, or admit that you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you're just fucking around. And then please admit that your relationship with your girlfriend is not serious, and so we shouldn't even bother talking or helping you guys, because you guys are just fucking wasting our time. So I actually did pretty good rebuttals. I don't have the time or the energy to say them now because these are long conversations, but the basic rebuttal on these 2 points was, okay, my definition of a serious relationship is I tell my partner. So his idea is like, okay, you guys are trying to have a threesome. That means that your relationship is not serious, so I don't need to take you serious. But my idea is, no, my relationship with my girlfriend is serious. That's why I'm telling her about the dark side of my desires. I'm not hiding my desires from her. I'm letting her know about them because I want her to know the light and the dark. That's one point. And in terms of he's saying, well, how can you be such a hypocrite? This doesn't make any logical sense. Either you don't know what you're talking about or you're a major hypocrite. Actually, what's happening is, as I said, in the 4th grade, I was exposed to pornography. I was interested in threesomes before I had graduated from high school. And
instead of saying that I have a dark desire and I have Christian belief, you're a hypocrite, throw you out the window. If you look at the time in my life and the number of people I impacted positively, 20 years ago or 10 years ago, I had the dark desire, 100 dark desires, and the dark desires have just been becoming less and less and less. It's just that some of those desires never went away. So instead of them saying you should just give up on this Christianity thing, actually, I'm not that serious of a Christian in many cases because I'm not practicing as much as I could. It's kind of like working out. Sometimes you work out and you're very serious about working out. Sometimes you're not that serious about working out. Sometimes in Christianity I was very serious and sometimes I was not very serious. And in this current stage, I'm not that serious. And so I'm kind of, if you're not serious in the gym, then your belly will show it. You'll become fatter. Same thing, spiritually, I was not doing spiritual exercise, so spiritually I was becoming more corrupt. So they're kind of saying, wow, you're quite spiritually corrupt. You should just stop this Christianity thing. Actually, it's more like I was spiritually corrupt, so it's kind of like, dang, I need to go back to this spiritual gym because I used to exercise a lot. Now I don't exercise, now I'm paying the price. And theologically, he was wondering, oh, do you think if you could sin as much as you want and just go straight to heaven or whatever? Actually, going back to the syncretism, I follow the ENFP in the Chinese kind of way because I used to be a Westerner in the sense that Westerners believe in universalism and Chinese people believe in particularism. The main difference is in universalism, they believe there's one correct way of doing things. There's one logic, there's one truth that's true in all the world. What's right is right in all countries, all times and places. What's wrong is wrong in all countries, times and places. That's universalism, universal law. Particularism is basically saying what's right in one province. Like, I'm not going to try to get too controversial, but basically particularism would be like what's right in Xinjiang policy is not the right policy in Beijing. And what's right in, like, when China opened Shenzhen, basically in Deng Xiaoping, they opened part of China to follow capitalist market and part of China was following communism. That's particularism. Chinese is like, just do whatever works. There's no need for orthodoxy to one ideology or one thing. It's just whatever works to solve the situation you're talking about. So universalism might say something like, killing is bad, therefore killing animals is bad, therefore we should become vegetarians because killing animals is bad. So people who eat animals are bad because they're promoting the killing of animals. That's universalism. Particularism is more like so that means also like universalism is also like, is Christianity correct? If it's correct, it's either true or false. If it's correct, it's always correct. If it's false, then it's false. It's just don't follow it. Universalism tries to turn things into a true or false proposition, whereas particularism kind of focuses on when is this thing useful. So when you look at the Chinese way, they say Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, the three teachings are one. What they mean is, look, Buddhism says you can't have sex. And then Confucianism says you better have sex so you can carry on your family name and honor your ancestors. So they like basically have two exact opposite teachings. But for the Chinese people, the three teachings are one, meaning we can do mixed martial arts. You could treat Buddhism as like Muay Thai, and you can treat Confucianism like wrestling, and you can treat Taoism as your Dutch kickboxing. And you can basically mix and match. You take this move from kickboxing, you take this move from wrestling, and take this move from Sambo. You can take different moves from different disciplines and turn them into your own style. It's kind of like, oh, what style's China? China is not really 100% Marxist, it's not 100% Buddhist. It's like, let's take some things from Marxism, let's take some things from Buddhism, let's take some things from the West, let's take some things from Russia, let's take some things from Tokyo, Japan, and take some things from Hong Kong and take something from Singapore. It's like taking from different things and learning from different things, copying and creating your own style. And in the end, you have a very unique style, right? So orthodoxy, kind of universalism, is a little bit like Taekwondo should be Taekwondo. And so if a person studies Taekwondo, I practiced Taekwondo before. WTF, World Taekwondo Federation. And the thing is, like, in Taekwondo, purism in Taekwondo is like saying, there is one correct style, and you must learn the one correct style. But particularism is like, there is no such thing as one correct style. There's only whoever wins and whoever loses. Who cares what style you're using? The only thing that matters is if you actually won. Who cares if you went into a gunfight and you used the perfect Taekwondo technique but you died? Who cares if you used the wrong technique but you lived, right? So this makes Chinese philosophy and religion very utilitarian and very TES oriented in socionics, typology. Where, look, I spent almost 3 years in China now, and people just care what works. They don't really care what's right. Like, they don't care what's true or what cares false. Like, the very famous saying is, you'll only know what is true by actually doing things. So they're like, don't rely on theory to tell you what's true and false. Theory cannot determine what is true or false. You can only know what is true or false in practice. And in practice, the real world situation is chaotic and messy. So what's right in one situation is wrong in another situation. So don't try to have one universal rule to apply to all different situations. You should just use a different, it's like being soft and hard, yin and yang. Universalism is like hard. It's like you force one style on the world, whereas being soft is you adapt the world and you become the style that's most effective in the situation. It's like J versus P, yin versus yang. So realistically, my ENTP friend is a Chinese American, so he's very much yang. He's very much have the hard style of what is true is what is false, what is yes and what is no. 黑即白思维, we call it black and white thinking in Chinese. So the thing is, in the Chinese systems, in the Chinese belief system, very rarely will they don't even consider what is true or false. They consider what is useful and what is not useful in a given situation. Whereas in the Western Christian system, they consider what is true and what is false. So this gets a little philosophical, but as a person, I am trying to combine the wisdom of all the different countries. So I am a huge mixed martial arts fan. And look, if it's martial arts, I'm going to learn moves from every single martial art. Krav Maga, Israel. Learn some moves from Aikido, Japan, right? Learn some moves from Capoeira, Brazil. You're going to learn some moves from catch wrestling. I'm more familiar with the Japanese style, but learning different things from different styles and creating a new style. Who cares about their purity? I have pretty much been convinced by this. Like, basically, I believe in the power of both styles, right? The yin and the yang. So the style of what is true and what is false, I believe in that style. But I also believe in the style of what is useful and what is not useful. What is the correct and what is not correct. What is P and what is J. My friend was trying to, the two friends, right? The ENFP was, you're violating FI, personal principle. So she sees her FI, she sees herself in the ESFP. When she sees there's an FI violation, you're violating this girl's, and that cares about FE critic. You're hurting your girlfriend. So actually, when I proved to my girlfriend, when I proved to Sydney that my girlfriend no longer feels hurt, because now my girlfriend's good with me, she's sleeping right now. My girlfriend has no problems with me right now. So basically, my girlfriend had no problems with me very quickly. She went from very angry to not angry at all. So whether it's the massage or the threesome, all of it is not, she doesn't care about that. We're good now. So FE-wise, she's not in pain. Now FI, my ENFP friend does care. They say, you call yourself a Christian. If my gay friends have open relationships, and that's okay, because that's FI consistent. It's responsible to their belief systems. But you're a Christian, and you are having inconsistent values. So that moral judgment is interesting because it's a moral judgment coming from a non-Christian onto a Christian, actually saying you are not behaving the way you're supposed to behave, and I'm going to hold you accountable not by my standards, not by universal standards. So she's not holding me accountable. She's not saying gays and Chris and people who have open relationships, they should be judged by the same standard. She's saying that, Chris, we should judge you by the standard that you ascribe to, and you ascribe to Christianity, and so you are a bad Christian, basically, right? My friend T.I. being responsible, T.E. criticizing. Where's the logic in this? How is it logical? Like, and the scary thing is, I think in both of their cases, my friend's ENTP case, he finds it hard to believe. Like, he is very knowledgeable in philosophy and theology. He knows all the names, antinomian. He knows all these words that I don't even know. But the thing is, he's trying to categorize me as in, so what belief system do you actually follow? Based off whatever belief system you're following, did what you do make logical, consistent sense with what you're doing? And what's so interesting is, I think, even though he has studied many, many different theologies and many logical systems and many philosophies, I don't think he is familiar with my philosophy, because my philosophy was not learned from someone. It was self-developed. And that's as a TI, third function, INFJ. My beliefs make logical sense, but how should I put this? Oh, and my friend, my ENTP friend also accused me of, he accused me, you're not even morally anchored to anything. You don't have any, but it's really interesting is because I don't even know what he's morally anchored to, but he made the criticism of saying, look, if you're a Christian and you don't follow the Bible, then you can basically do whatever you want. And you don't care about what anything says or anyone does. And I was like, objection. Actually, I care about something. I care about FE, second parent function. I care about how I impact other people. That's exactly why before having a threesome, I asked my girlfriend, I asked her opinion. And I care about my friend. Like my ENTP friend, James, I do care about him. I actually ask for his opinion. I actually care about his opinion. Because this is the danger. I think this is the difference between some FI and FE users. Is basically, sometimes I know what I believe, but I believe, like I can believe 5 contradictory things. Like I could believe 5 different things and believe in them equally weighted. I could believe, like, okay, this is an example. Like, is killing bad? Well, I don't think that's a very simple thing, because like, I like eating meat, right? So if you ask me, I think, is killing bad depends on what you do, what are you defining as the parameters of killing. So I think there's actually a time where killing is good. Like you kill people who are trying to kill you, or you kill food and you need to eat it so you don't starve. And there's a time where killing is bad, where you're like killing your own family members. You shouldn't be killing your own family members in most situations, right? But the thing is, my friend asked, well, where do you anchor your belief systems to? So honestly, I believe that I myself, and I told them this way before back in Shaoshan. I asked them, do you think your Sanguan is correct? Or do you have problems with your Sanguan? So Sanguan means your worldview, your lifestyle, and your value system. So I'd actually told them like a month ago in person that I do not believe my 三观 is correct. 我的三观不正. That means I am in a situation where I believe, so I have my own beliefs, but I also believe that my beliefs are flawed. I believe my value system needs updating. My worldview needs to expand, and I think my lifestyle, how I live, is not correct. So I just basically believe these three things: my worldview, my lifestyle, and my value system. They're all kind of buggy. So I view myself as a software, I view myself as a computer with buggy computer software, right? And I have a desire to debug, go in and fix what are actually the problems in my value system. Whereas actually both my friends feel like they think their 三观 is fine. I think my 三观 is not fine. So that's why I'm actually a person who's easily changeable, because I'm in the process of changing what I believe. So I may believe A, but at the same time I also may believe that A is wrong. That's actually the sign of a person who's willing to learn. I believe what I believe in, I am willing to keep it as a tentative hypothesis. I am persuadable. I'm willing to change my mind and opinions about things. It's hard, but I want to get a better, more accurate, I want a more healthy value system. I want a more healthy lifestyle, and I want a more accurate worldview. And me sharing this is also me trying to share things that hopefully will help other people's worldview expand and become more accurate, right? I don't even know if this counts as a lecture. It's a confession. It's a confession. So, going back, what are you anchoring your moral system to? So, I basically said, look, I care about what I do, how it impacts people who matter to me. To me, that is actually part of my moral compass. And I also challenged him back because I know he's not a Christian, he's an anti-Christian. And I told him, I don't follow any philosophy like this ism or that ism or this code or this. I'm not a monk. I don't follow this or that rule. I am more like the mixed martial artist, which I choose and pick different things to believe in and create my own identity and my own path. And I think a lot of people view the non-purity of such belief systems to be bastardizations, because they believe, the danger they believe is, well, if you can pick and choose what you believe in, then you can always just choose things that are advantageous to yourself, basically. Hello. You can always choose things that are advantageous to yourself, and therefore you can always not be wrong. You can always, it's like the loophole, where it's like, you can always choose. I think that's actually how my friend is thinking, is like, well, if you're able, so my friend is more like, probably more thinking, there's a true right and wrong, and you should hold yourself accountable to that true, objectively true right and wrong. Whereas my ENFP friend is like, you shouldn't do things that hurt people, and whatever you call yourself, if you're a Buddhist, you should follow the Buddhist morals. If you call yourself a Christian, you should follow the Christian morals. Whatever you call yourself, we should hold you accountable to whatever you call yourself, that identity. That's kind of like an FI way of looking at it. We're going to hold you accountable to your core values. Whereas the ENTPs, we're going to hold you accountable to the logical consistency of whatever system you tie yourself to that objective truth. There's an objective truth, whatever system you're following. So it's more, I think my ENTP friend has it like this. There's an objective truth of what is right and wrong. Different philosophies and different worldviews have a different degree of percentage of how true they are. So like low-level civilizations, moral system might be 40% true, but a more advanced civilization should have more knowledge and be more capable of aligning their value system to the right value system. So I think there's, I didn't confirm this with him, but I am deducing that he gives me the impression that there is an actually true, objective, discoverable moral law, which I actually tend to believe. and that different civilizations and different religions have created rules and philosophies that approximate this moral law. And this moral law should be followed because if you ask me, the moral law, it should keep into account, how does this action impact me? How does it impact my family? How does it impact my friends? How does it impact my community? It's like going from the small. I'm hugging my girlfriend right now. Say hello.
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 Hi. And the. Oh, baby. 你要出去
Yes.
爱你一会儿见想跟你柔道
来看一下谁呀？
我觉得这样的衣服很适合柔道很适合那个台
你听我。
And then yeah, so the moral law to me is how does this action impact me? How does this action impact my family? How does this action impact my friends? How does this action impact the world? How does this action, there's like circles from small to big, right? So if you think about it, cheating on a person helps yourself, maybe, but it hurts your family, it hurts your partner, it hurts people, right? It sows distrust in the world. So yeah, cheating is not good because it basically hurts people. And if you look at it from Sydney's way, the ENFP way, if you don't know if something's wrong, just look at how many people it hurts. The more people it hurts, the more likely it's wrong, right? The more likely it is wrong. Then the TI way is like, there is a moral law, and yes, not everyone has that smart, but if you compare, like pretty much every civilization on the planet considered rape to be bad. Well, if every civilization considered rape to be bad, there's probably a logical reason for why that is. And if you really look at what I just said about there is an objective moral law, how does this hurt people? Oh yeah, it does hurt. It does hurt people. Like it literally is an act of hurting people, right? Rape is going to hurt the person you rape. So I think James at this moment would understand that I'm not a T type, I'm an F type. So although I believe in the moral law, like I truly do believe in the moral law, and James believes in this moral law, I believe, James also knows that this moral law is not something that the heavens wrote down on a piece of paper. It's something that like humans learn through experience, through it's like they learn through trial and error, and they figure out, oh shoot, maybe we shouldn't do this, maybe we shouldn't do that. If we do more of this, it's going to be bad for the society. I'm not exactly sure, didn't have this discussion with him. But there's this idea that even though there's a moral law, different civilizations interpreted that moral law, or how much of that moral law they could discover was not like this philosophy, like for example, existentialism versus like Islam. Like you might think that they're completely different, but I'm pretty sure Jean Sartre and like Muhammad, like I'm pretty sure they're going to agree on certain things. Like, yes, you should not murder your parents. Like they implicitly agree about a lot of those things. And those things they implicitly agree on has a logical basis. They agree on that because based on human experience, it hurts people. And because it hurts people, they have basically decided, let's try to create a better world. And so we're going to ban certain activities and we're going to punish certain behaviors because they're in the collective interest. They're in the individual and the collective interest to protect, to ban certain actions, and to make those actions both legally punishable, but also morally and culturally reprehensible for the benefit of the current generation and the future generations. So, but this moral law is still a bit ephemeral. Like it's there, but it's not there at the same time. The Chinese people would call it the Tao. That's what Taoism is about. The Taoism is about finding that moral law, that invisible moral law, and understanding the principles of the universe and the nature that are deeply connected. They believe that the hidden source of the life, the hidden source of the universe is also the hidden source of the moral law. And the moral law follows natural principles that could be discovered to increase the harmony and to decrease the chaos. It's like decrease the entropy and increase the order. That's kind of the Taoist reinterpretation in modern terms, I would say. But I do study these isms, and I do seek to study the moral law, but it doesn't mean I don't have frustrations. It doesn't mean that I'm following it perfectly. So he tried to ask, what are you pinning yourself to the moral system? And that's such an interesting thing, is because I think, because James, my friend, told me he really enjoyed and had fun talking to me. Both of them really enjoyed talking to me. Why else would they ask me to marry them, right? So the thing is, what's so interesting is how much they cared about my morals. And actually how little did I realize my morals and my actual... I didn't realize my morals could jeopardize my relationship with people more than how I treated them. Like, for example, the last time I met Sydney and James, I treated them very well. They treated me very well. So you could understand that how I treated them was like a true friend. And I thought because I treated them as a true friend, as an FE valuing user, I'm basically thinking true friendship is more important than your moral views. Because moral views, I believe humans are flawed. Like, human beings have dark desires. Kim Kardashian has dark desires. Donald Trump has dark desires. Joe Biden has dark desires. No human I've ever seen or met does not have dark desires. So deep down, I think that all people have these dark desires. Yes, we should try to master them on some level, but to erase them is probably, for most people, impossible. Where it feels like, I believe that people's desires are not consciously obtained. You do not consciously have these desires. Desires are subconscious things that enter the conscious mind. They are subconsciously accumulations of subconscious thought that enter the conscious mind. And the conscious mind can choose to reject or to act on them, right? So the subconscious mind is telling me, hey, go have threesome. But my conscious mind has actually rejected it. But it rejected it on the basis of, can I ask my girlfriend, what does she think about it? Let's not do it, right? But it doesn't mean the desire is not there. And I don't want to be a person that's full of guilt and self-shame and, oh, I'm such a bad person. Oh, wow, I have these desires, I'm an evil. No, I believe that I am a walking contradiction. I have dark desires, but I also have pure desires at the same time. I have done things that hurt people, but I have done things to help people. I myself, I am simultaneously a bad boyfriend, and I'm also simultaneously a good boyfriend. I am simultaneously a bad human, and I'm also a good human. And instead of trying to push responsibility onto some kind of ism, I just view this world as, hey, like, the thing is, I would accept a friend even, like, I have had friends who were cheated on their wives, or I had a friend who told me her father killed his girlfriend, so that's murder. In my personal opinion, I would still be able to be a friend, even with, if someone, I asked my girlfriend, if your son betrayed the country, would you turn them in? Would you turn in your son? Who's more important, the country or your son? My girlfriend said the country is more important than the son, right? This is actually a very interesting thing I figured out, is that some people, when there's a conflict of interest between the bigger group and the smaller group, let's say your best friend steals money. Okay, I asked this question to people from Putian, it's really funny. Let's say your best friend sells drugs to kids and makes a lot of money, or becomes this prostitution drug lord guy, and they make good money, and they're like, yo, and they want to give you a lot of money. First of all, so they harm the society, they harm the bigger, but they are closer to you. So like, the bigger thing is farther away. The society is farther away from you than your friend. If your friend if the friend does something that is bad for the collective but is good for themselves, would you side with your friend, or would you side with the collective? In Putian, it's really interesting because Putian is a famous place in China where people, in China there's all kinds of businessmen, and some people are good at money making this way and that way, and Putian is known for making fake shoes. And Putian has a lot of people who are not highly educated, but they're very good at making money. And one way they make money is through loyalty, loyalty, and illegal behavior, which is kind of like pre-gang behavior, right? It's like loyalty to a group and then making money through the gray market and black markets. So selling like fake Nikes and this kind of stuff. So how should we say it? The people in my girlfriend's friends from Putian, I asked them this question. And actually my girlfriend also responded. I said, if they made money through prostitution, or they made prostitution or money through the drugs, they went to America and they sold a lot of drugs, and they made a lot of money and they came back, would you be offended, or would your friendship be affected? How would you view them? And they said two things. They said, well, as long as you don't do anything that harms, 如果你没有伤害我的立场，都可以了。If you do not do anything that harms me, you're fine. And two is, I would say good job. They would say good job, because in many people's minds in modern China, money is king. So making money is hard. There's a lot of competition to make money. Everything's expensive for a lot of people. People desire material and financial security and financial success. And a lot of their friends, a lot of the friends' choices are to work like a slave and make very little money, or find some illegal ways to make a lot of money. And if they find a lot of illegal ways to make a lot of money, then they would actually consider that as well, you got to do what you got to do. The ends justify the means, right? So this is the dichotomy. Some people in the ENFP and ENTP friends, they gave me this feeling. They like me as a person, but the collective and me, if I did something that was selfish and benefit myself, but harm the collective, then that would severely lower their opinion of me. So that means my morality and my ethics extremely matter to them. They don't just care about how I treat them. They care about my moral standing and my ethical standing. So their perception of my moral standing, ethical standing, really colors whether they want to interact with me and whether they respect me. If I lose that, if I treated them well, but I lost the moral integrity, either by being unfaithful or by doing things that were not logically consistent based off of they conceptualize that you need to be logically consistent as a Christian like this, or you need to be FI, you need to stay loyal to your core values like that, then at the end of the day, they would actually be heavily disgusted with me. So some people are opposite, like the Putian friends. They're saying, like, if you harm the collective but you win, you're a winner. And there's kind of a difference in mindset, because some people's mindset is, the society doesn't care about me, so why do I have to care about the society? Some people's mindset is, yeah, if you win and you treat me well, as long as you treat me well, we're all good. As long as you treat me well and you don't do anything that harms me, we'll be fine. We'll be homies. But other people, like my ENTP and ENFP friends, they're thinking is, well, if you treat me well, but you hurt other people, you hurt the society, you hurt your girlfriend, then you're a hypocrite and I don't respect you for that. Whereas some other people are like, hey, look, if you have 3 mistresses and if you are doing illegal businesses, but you buy me birthday gifts and you treat me with respect, then we have loyalty and we have a bond. So it's very interesting how the bond is constructed differently in this case. And I would like to analyze it further and have other people's friends' analysis, but ENTP and ENFP, I was shocked that they have this kind of response to me, especially because if you actually if you overheard, and I hope that our relationship will improve so they'll be in the podcast in the future. If you actually heard the topics, the conversations between the three of us, you'd be shocked about the ideas coming out of both of my friends' mouths. Like, you would think they are the most open-minded, most controversial types. And then when you hear me, you'll think this Chris is the more conservative, the more like diplomatic, more digestible. I have the more digestible opinions, the more even-keeled. But then suddenly when you talk about actually personally, like for example, they have talked to me about sex and kind of stuff before, and they're the ones that make me feel like they're the ones pushing the uncomfortable boundary, right? Everyone's boundaries are different, but you get the idea. But then when I actually had these two kind of moral yellow cards, moral red cards, cheating and the threesome idea, they're like, you've crossed the red card line. I crossed the boundary. Whereas for them, they would they find it easier to accept their own ideas, which ironically has something to do with any. Because they're both any doms, they have some of the craziest perspectives I've heard in a while in Asia, which I really enjoy and I really like. But their perspectives are like some of their perspectives are so crazy that the normal people would find them so, like, you wouldn't easily find people who would say these ideas are good. But what's interesting is suddenly when they're dealing with me, I think I triggered the like ENTP has like the ESFJ as kind of like ISFJ. So ISFJ is the ENTP's flip. So like the shadow. So the funny thing is somehow I triggered something psychological deep down that two of some of the most open-minded, most crazy talking friends, when they heard about these moral yellow cards, moral red cards, their opinion of me dropped from let's have this guy be the officiant who marries our wedding to dropping straight down. It's like the stock going from $1,000 dropping to 2 cents. And wow, I'm so embarrassed. My voice is dead. I'm tired. I filmed. This was a long filming process. So, there's a long line of people who want to talk to me and film. So I really want to get back and give you guys some high quality content. This is the first in our confession series. And I'm not justifying, what I'm saying and all this stuff and even talking to them, I'm not trying to justify and say what I did is right or what I did is wrong. I'm just trying to clarify, trying to explain how I thought, what happened. And yeah, like I would love to be a better human being. It's not easy. And when I reflect on socionics and what my ENFP friend asked, what did your Jesus teach you? I'm going to finish on this. I think we all have a dark side. My dark side is quite dark. And we are not responsible for the dark side of other people, but we will run into the dark side of other people. The world will be a better place when we love each other, but the part of us that really needs the love is the dark side, the shadow side. And when it comes to ourselves, we can work on the shadow work, but it's going to be an uphill battle. And when it comes to loving other people who have scary shadows of their own, we should first probably learn to face our own shadow before we learn to completely face other people's shadows. But other people's shadows are also almost, they're there and they'll come and they'll have conflict with us. But to love our partner, we need to somehow accept all of us human beings are basically crazy. Not only are we all kind of crazy, it's like we all have this dark side we're handling. And yes, some people struggle against their dark side and some people are controlled by their dark side. I actually believe that's kind of a difference between a person who is on the path to heaven, so to speak, is, yeah, if you embrace your dark side more than your light, you're probably going to go to a more dark place. But if you struggle against the dark side and you move towards the light, it's like this. A year has 365 days. Human beings will judge you based off of what they see. So if they see you on a bad day, they'll judge you as a bad person. And they'll conclude the book that way. But when we see ourselves and when God sees ourselves, it's not based off one day. It's based off like the whole year. So when you see yourself in 1 year, let's use pornography as an example. If a person was fighting against pornography and pretend they're like a Christian, or they're not, it doesn't matter. But in 365 days, if they used pornography 10 days and they used 355 days they didn't use pornography, you could look at it as a win-loss ratio. Every day they didn't use pornography, they won. And every day they didn't use pornography, they lost. Drugs are the same thing. Video game addiction. If a person's addicted, it takes time. So like when you're first addicted, you're going to be 0 to 365. 0 to 365 means every day you look at porn, every day you play video games. But the point of Christianity and Jesus and actually fighting addiction and all this kind of stuff, it's not to go from 0 to 365 to 365 to 0 immediately. The goal is to go from 0 to 365 to 1 to 364. It's to win one day at a time, win one battle at a time. And every win is a win and should be celebrated. So if you have that dark side of you, and in 365 days of a year, if you have the dark side is winning 364 days in a year, that means you've won one day in the year, the light has won. And instead of trivializing and looking down on that one day you won, you should ask, how did the light win that one day and how can we replay that win? How can we win more? How can the light win more? And if the light goes from 1 win to 2 wins, it's going to be a win for yourself, for your family, for your friends. And so I don't think we should pick at people's speck when we have a beam in our eye. We should actually be like, look, if a person has the dark shadow in them, and they have actually lost 364 days in a year, but they've won and the light has shined one day in a year, we can do something. This is what I believe humans should do based off sociotics as well, is we can love and accept ourselves as we are and encourage the light, the best part of us to come out. And we should fight against the dark side within us. But when it comes to other people, we should encourage the light to come out, but we should also help cover people's dark side. So when I cover their dark side, I mean is like people's dark sides happen. People do stupid, irrational things. But by covering them, we say, look, like my girlfriend, she has her shadow side too. When her shadow side comes out, there's the aspect of saying, I know you have a shadow side, and I'm going to face it with like, oh, if your shadow side comes out. It's kind of like if your blind spots or your weaknesses are causing problems. It's like if someone else makes the room messy and because their SI is bad, you could use your SI to make the room clean. So if someone is being irrational and their TI is going out of control, you could use your TI to make things logical and make things right again. So I think that's kind of covering. It's kind of like where others are weak, we can use our strengths. And where others are strong, we can encourage them to use their strengths. And when people are struggling against the darkness, we can encourage their light. Where they're going, when they start winning more against the dark side of themselves, they're going to also feel that personal growth, that spiritual growth, and they're also going to make an impact on their own environment. A lot of people are waiting for society to change from top down. They're waiting for the government, the politicians to put the right policies in place to get the economy improved, the military improved, to get the education improved. I think that's way too slow and it's not practical because all people at the top have they're really busy and they have a lot of problems to deal with. And when you're in power, you want to stay in power and the people are trying to take you out, they're trying to steal your power. So they spend a lot of energy trying to protect their position. So instead of waiting for them, because they're busy, they got a lot of goals to do. Instead of trying to get them to make the world a better place, we can basically say, how can we help bring out the light in another person? How can we get a person from losing all 365 days. How can we get them to lose only 364? And when people start to lose less and less and less, they make a difference. It's a difference maker. They become a difference maker. And if you're a difference maker in their life, they become a difference maker. Enough different makers, it becomes a world shaker, a game changer. And then the world changes. And, whew, I feel good and I feel bad finishing this series. Tired. Let you guys know that it wasn't easy to make this series. I hope it records successfully. And God bless. Take care. See you in the next video.